Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 133. I am your host, back down in the basement with my co-host and teenage son, Jack. Say hello.
Hi, my name is Jack, and I have Pinterest.
You have Pinterest?
Yeah,
No, you don't actually, do you? Oh, you do? Why?
wallpapers and stuff.
Oh, I didn't know that young people used Pinterest for anything.
I didn't know anyone used Pinterest for anything.
No, maybe they don't. Maybe you're the only one.
No, I know people, I just don't know.
It solely exists for you right now.
I
That's
mean,
it.
it wouldn't surprise me.
It's possible. So, you didn't have school today, correct? Are you aware? I don't think you went outside today, did you?
No.
Okay, so I mean, your mother went downtown for her thing today, right? For work. So I had to walk to work, which isn't a big deal. It's 10 minutes maybe,
I
right?
forgot that she wasn't at school, so I thought you just walked home because she took a while or whatever, so.
So it was like, it's what, an 8 or 10 minute walk to my work, and
Ish, I'd say, like, you can usually make solid time, like, just over 10 minutes, maybe.
yeah. So I just woke up, got dressed, and was like, oh, it's a sunny, brisk winter day, right? Went outside. Do you know how cold it was today?
Nope.
So when I walked to work, because my face froze about halfway there, my
Right.
legs froze, and my fingers. So I looked when I got to work, minus 32 with the wind chill.
Ugh,
Minus 32 Celsius, listeners, if you're...
good day to not do stuff.
It was crazy. Super duper cold. Like, my colleagues were annoyed that I didn't call them or text them for a ride because they're like, you're an idiot. Why?
You are an idiot.
I mean, that's probably true, but... So yeah, it was...
This is just one of the many reasons. we're
Damn
just tacking
cold.
this on.
And we got more snow, which we've had a very, like, not snowy winter.
'Cause we're Canada, baby.
But the last couple of weeks have been the most wintry we've had in quite a while. So anyways, that was my excitement for the day. So
I had no excitement for
I was
the
going to
day.
say you accomplished many things today.
Sure.
No.
We'll go with that.
Did you get dressed today?
No.
Nice. That's a
Oh,
good day.
I changed clothes because I showered, but I wouldn't say I got dressed.
Just right into other, like, lounge wear.
Yeah.
Is that what we call
So
it?
I don't know if we're going to call that getting dressed or not.
Nothing.
Probably not.
And you work tomorrow. And
Yeah.
your brother has basketball tomorrow. So we're doing another Friday nighter, right? Which seems to be
Mhm.
somewhat regular right now, I guess, that we're down
Somewhat.
here. Friday nights. I
It's
don't
not
mind it.
not.
It's not regular. We do some good work down here late at night, I feel like. So, but we are going to do our usual stuff. Plus, I think we're going to start out after the news, I guess. We'll do some Royal Rumble recap. I took somewhat detailed notes, and I'll probably pare them down a little bit, and we'll get through that fairly quickly. So this could be a lengthy episode. So I don't know if there's anything else you wish to banter about, but we can move on. I know you love the banter.
Well, this was really not an eventful week,
No.
considering I had, like,
Days off school because
Yeah.
exams. You only
last
had
2
two
days I
exams.
haven't done anything.
Right.
Or last 2 days, because I even went out on Wednesday, so
Did you even work yet this week?
not
Can't remember.
since Tuesday.
So you work
3
tomorrow.
days off, 3 days working.
Do you work Sunday or no?
And Monday.
This is riveting stuff for
And
people,
then-
but
I have a bunch of next week off. Not even on purpose, just
right,
happens.
just happens.
Yeah.
Other than the 11th when we're supposed to go to wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Your brother said he might go with me.
But he hasn't. He's
Just
he
for
doesn't
something to
care-
do.
He's not smart.
Just for something to do. I know he doesn't love wrestling, but
Not an intellectual.
we'll go for dinner and then go to the show and come
I
back.
never go for dinner. I see how it is.
Oh, well, I mean, I got to
I
lure.
see how it is.
You'll go regardless. Him, I might have to lure.
That's fair.
We went for dinner when we went to the one in Oshawa.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, we
What
did.
did we
Remember,
do?
we drove forever to find a restaurant
Oh, yeah,
because
that's
we were
true.
hoping there was one.
What did we? I don't even remember what we got.
Something
all that
lame,
effort.
like Wendy's or something.
Oh yeah, that's lame.
Yeah, because there was nothing for miles and miles from that venue for some reason. But anyway,
Yeah, that was the first one we went to. I think
it
right?
was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But anyways, we should probably
Would have been in the summer.
start talking about
Yeah.
wrestling other than indie wrestling that no one that listens to us knows anything about. So I guess we'll do that now. We'll move into our first segment where we'll talk about some of the week's wrestling news and rumors. All right, taking a quick look at the ratings. NXT this week averaged 587,000 viewers, down 3.3%. Earned a 0.13 in the key demo, up 8.3%. Went head-to-head with a Lakers versus Knicks game. And just out of curiosity, so if NXT got a 0.13 in the demo, what do you think Lakers-Knicks game? Because I know you're right up on the sports. If you had to predict, a point what?
0.7.
That's not terrible. 0.58. You're in the ballpark, I would say. So no random date for you this week, although I do have one that I think is good for Dynamite. So they averaged AEW Dynamite this week 901,000 viewers, down 10.2%. They were just barely over a million last week, so that's down. Earned a 0.31 in the key demographic, also down just a little bit less, 3.1%. And this was where I took it from again. I think it's Figure 4 online. The lowest attendance total for the show for Dynamite since the date they chose this week, January 4th. So not even a month ago. Nice. Like, how do you decide that that's, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
That'd be what, like a month ago?
Not even.
Just a day under a month ago.
So, wow, that wouldn't, what a low. Anyways, what do you have for us?
So AEW's announced a house show tour, House Rules tour.
Oh, nice.
Starting March 18th in Troy, Ohio. So they're doing house shows other than like the one-off they did, I think, in 2020 or 2021.
Any Canadian spots revealed?
I don't know. I've only heard about this first one.
Probably take a while to get up here, I would imagine.
It took them a while to get
Exactly.
here the first time.
Exactly.
So we're going to be waiting a while again.
I would think so. Well, that's cool. At least it's a possibility at some point. I'd go to a house show. It'd be cheap, right? They're kind of fun.
It's a nice option to have, right?
They're cheap and efficient because
and it's AEW, so I'm like,
that too. See some cool stuff probably. So great news that we're going to talk about Royal Rumble after this, but there was, not to spoil it, a sponsored match in that show, right? The Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. So apparently we can expect some sort of sponsored match at WrestleMania 39. And so you said you knew right away Snickers is one of the sponsors, right?
I swear to God, Snickers has been the sponsor of WrestleMania ever since I started watching. I remember it being the sponsor for 32, which was the first Mania I watched. I know that.
Yeah.
And then I know it was for 33, 34, and then pretty sure 35. At least every Mania pre-pandemic, I'm pretty sure it's been every Mania. And then also since the pandemic, the weekend's been, he did 36, 37, 38. He'll probably do, I think he's doing this year too. They confirmed. So I don't care about the weekend though.
So yes, Snickers could be a possibility. Pepsi Take Two, which I don't even know what that is.
I thought you were saying Pepsi Take Two, like it's like Mountain Dew Pitch Black.
No, I don't know what Take Two is. And Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So
I personally want to see a Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Oh wait, the New Day.
CT Crunch.
The New Day should have, like, instead of Bootios, they should do like a Cinnamon Toast Crunch on a pole match.
There you go.
Pepsi ladder match.
So
I'm just trying to think, like, because Mountain Dew Pitch Black match is just like, that's so perfect. I don't know how you like Snickers.
Perfect for Bray Wyatt
Snickers
to
match
do,
or something,
which didn't really make sense. Like Bray Wyatt does
I guess because Pitch Black.
But it's like he's sponsored by a soft drink, even though he's like spooky.
I think LA Knight actually did a commercial for them though, like in the build up to that.
Maybe it's his fault.
Yeah, it's LA Knight's fault.
So it could be one of those already sponsored or something
to see
new,
what they concoct this time.
It'll be lame, whatever it is.
I know, and I want to see it.
Yeah.
It'll be like funny.
It could be. It definitely could be for all the wrong reasons.
Speaking of WrestleMania.
Yeah, nice.
Boom. Rumored match for Gunther is defending against Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, which would be awesome.
Yeah, that would actually
I also saw someone toss up the idea of him being the new longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, which I think that is very logical.
That would be a match I would actually...
I don't see him breaking the main event anytime soon.
No.
He could, but like, given the current situation. So I feel like that's the best move for him, and then longest run in the Rumble, longest IC title run.
Spoiler. But it does feel like the IC title has a bit more prestige now.
He's the best champion in a while.
Well, and that both of the main ones are tied up in one guy, right? So that kind of means he's the next.
Yeah, and it's
although is the US now bigger than
the Intercontinental?
IC? It shouldn't be,
no,
but in my opinion.
So. Like I do like what Rollins in theory have been doing, but like I think Gunther's definitely like.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I don't know, purely like the title run.
They certainly somebody likes him, right? Based on his treatment at Rumble, so
yeah.
I
think Vince was gonna like ruin him or whatever.
Of course. Even though he got in shape, we still missed Heavy Welter though. So WWE announced yet another record-breaking yearly revenue, and especially another strong quarter to end 2022. So their net revenue this year, up 18%, is at $1.3 billion. Not bad, I guess, right? Sounds nice. The other category of media revenue, which would then include the Saudi shows and any additional programming was up to 148.5 million, which is up. It was a 73.5 million last year. So, I guess the silver lining, although
Time to make some budget cuts.
but that's what I was going to say. At the time, I said the good news is they got the record profits without firing dozens of people. But then I've got another story coming up a bit later.
Man,
but
that was
yeah, because that was
else.
record profit. I remember being furious because it was a record profits and dozens
record
of people
releases too.
laid off.
I don't know if they've ever released like more people once. That was insane.
So at least we hadn't heard of a lot of in-ring talent or on-air talent, I guess, being released. But I do have another related story coming up. But you go ahead.
Oh, I have nothing else.
Oh, then I will go right into it. That WWE apparently has fired a lot more employees since McMahon returned, which hasn't been very long, right?
Which isn't surprising either.
They fired a few people last month, including, I guess, the president of communications. And so Meltzer, in the latest Observer newsletter, reported that many more cuts at Titan Towers were done to get ready for this idea of selling the company, right? Because you want to sort of, I guess...
That kind of has died down since the initial
buzz. It has.
I'm not sure what's
I guess the idea
now.
of releasing people is you streamline the payroll and stuff, right? So if we're making this much money, but we just released people, more of that money can be profit, I guess, or whatever is the plan, right? But yeah, so
they're going to go with that strategy again.
Vince is back and releases start. So so far nothing like in ring or on air or whatever, but I guess that's not out of the question probably. And the only other story I have, it was kind of a slow week, is that there's news or rumors, I guess it would fit better, that AEW streaming service could be in the works.
Time
kind of makes sense, I guess. They've been around long enough
having an ROH one.
I think at this point you can see that they're going to stick around. They'll now have a bit of a library, right? And
I feel like they really should have just combined AEW and ROH into one.
I was just going to ask you, do you think they would?
I don't think so. If they really put all the effort into like promoting Honor Club, or maybe eventually, but I think at least right now they won't. Which I think they should have, because I think
it needs to all go in one as well.
Right, because like ROH, they probably have like an amazing back catalog.
They
right?
do,
but the thing is, I feel like the benefit with
it's
WWE
not enough for me
like,
to do specifically ROH,
right? Because they're not going to be putting out a lot of new stuff, like what you get like 3 or 4 pay-per-views.
But if I were on the fence of getting the AEW streaming and they went, you'll get all ROH
right,
too.
Exactly.
Then
then AEW is going to put out a bunch of new good stuff, but then also amazing back catalog, which is kind of what WWE has. Which obviously WWE, they don't put out the best stuff right now, in my opinion. But they still they put out a solid amount of stuff to be worth your money,
even
and
just
be
the
like
pay-per-views.
Some of the stuff is solid, right?
Yeah.
And then also their back catalogs is huge, so you kind of have to have both, right?
Because how else am I going to go watch WCW 2000, right?
Right, yeah.
That I keep going back
to.
It's so bad.
Right, and it's like the Ring of Honor's kind of only got one side of the coin, and then
it'd be fun
AEW's kind of got one side as well.
It'd be fun to have access and review some like peak ROH stuff that you haven't seen, and I was like in and out of ROH, right? So there's definitely pockets I didn't see either that probably have some pretty sweet stuff. There were some down periods as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was reviewing for some of the not so great stuff, even that was pretty recent. But anyways, that is all I have for news. So I guess the first thing we should do, if we're going in order, is talk about Royal Rumble. Yeah, excited?
Yay.
I'm excited to reread some of my notes.
Part of the show, it's very akin to last year in a sense.
You're right. But I guess we'll do that now. So we will give you a streamlined, but probably still fairly thorough, because that's what we do, review of this year's PLE, right?
Yeah, there you go. Okay, good.
Got it.
You worried me for a second.
I don't want to get sued. It is our Royal Rumble review. All right, so Royal Rumble, we started a bit late, right? Because we were at that indie show and then drove home.
That's right, we did a thing.
Decided not to stay for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we went to Smash Wrestling, had a good time there. Got a milkshake. I randomly ran into a friend from high school that I haven't seen in 20-something years. That was bizarre.
You were telling me, yeah.
But yeah, there were we won't say too much because it's not relevant to a lot of people, but the main event, right, involved Aerostar and Drago in a tag match, and I did not think they looked good at all.
Not great.
They looked a step slow and just like not really in sync with much, and I was definitely hoping for more, but
And
there
the
were
other team was like they were just okay too, right? Like I don't think it like matched the
a
best.
team from Quebec. Yeah, I forget what they
Tabernacle the team.
were. Right. Yeah, but there were some other good shows, like a good indie comedy show, right? With Psycho Mike and that other guy that
Crowley, yeah,
we'd never seen,
he
who
was
was
really
good.
entertaining. You were off getting the food when he
I
came in,
was.
but he was really entertaining. Actually, I think he was like kind of like sometimes like new person will catch your eye from the show. I think he was like
Yes.
out of people I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
He was pretty interesting.
It's one of the fun things about indie shows.
I think he's from WXW, so he
is he?
might not see him a lot.
He seemed a little more polished
I know
than
he's
some.
facing Psycho Mike again on WXW something.
So that was fun. There was what other match did I really like there? The women's match was pretty good. Taylor Wilde, right, was there taking on a local talent.
Jody Threat.
Yeah, and then there was a multi-person one that was pretty fun, I think.
Yeah, it was Greed, Vertigo,
Oh, right.
Kevin Bennett,
who's the Smash champion.
Bryce Hansen. How did I get that?
Yeah.
There's a fifth one too. Oh, Carter Mason or whatever.
Yeah.
That was it. Boom.
Yep. And I
think.
I recognize some podcasters that I listen to, right? Over at, they just rebranded to Poison Rana. So I went up and bought them a drink and chatted with them. They were really cool dudes. They had mentioned us on their episode, their Royal Rumble review. So I'm doing that here. That was super. They were super cool guys. I talked to them a couple times during the show there, and at intermission I ran into them again. So
and
lovely.
I had a milkshake.
Braden and Davey, lovely guys. Really cool to meet them.
Mm-hmm.
And you had a milkshake, correct? All right, let's talk about Royal Rumble. So that's how I got off track, because I was going to say it worked out beautifully for us because we were behind. When we caught up to live and
we skipped the whole Hardy.
We perfectly, without planning it,
I didn't even know it was there.
Missed Hardy's performance.
The entire thing, because we
like to the minute, basically.
I know, we were like Kevin Owens. It was perfect, and I heard that.
I've heard it
sucked.
Was terrible.
I heard it sucked,
Me too.
And I'm like, well, isn't he like some country? Like whatever.
I might actually go watch a snippet just to see.
I almost want to, but I don't know.
I won't watch the
I heard
whole thing.
It sucked.
But yeah, we perfectly missed it.
And I'm surprised like most people are saying that, because most people like praise because Mania last year praised it wasn't good.
No,
but if people are saying this sucked, it must have sucked.
I bet it did. But anyways, this show starts. And Pat McAfee, so these are some of my notes, right? Pat McAfee makes a surprise appearance.
I thought he was entering the Rumble, and I was like, no.
And Jack is relieved for a moment because he thought McAfee was going to wrestle, right? And then I felt like he and Graves were really trying to be like antagonistic towards each other, and it was annoying. I don't know what it was.
It's like a worse version of when Graves was mean to Saxton the whole time.
So the opener ends up being the men's Rumble match, which I was like, what do you think that means? And basically, like, probably nothing, exciting surprises.
It turned out as you would expect.
So just going through my notes, Gunther enters first. Jack is annoyed because I picked Gunther.
I really got screwed on this one.
I picked Gunther for longest time in the match, which obviously was the case.
To like an insane degree too. Like he even beat out Mysterio's record in the end.
Exactly. All-time record.
Yeah.
And I think the number 2 choice was smart because they brought in Sheamus, right? So they could sort of rekindle their
I was hoping for Cody Rollins,
match.
But this also works.
Yeah, that was cool. And that's when then I have Jack wants Cody number 3, but it's Miz.
Oh, I saw this funny because they keep calling the McIntyre and Sheamus the Banger Bros, right? But they dropped that since they found out what Bang Bros is.
Right.
I don't know what that is, but I assume it's something.
An inappropriate website that would also probably not want them using their similar name either.
So I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a horrible name. Like Brawling Brutes and Banger Bros is pretty horrible.
It is. So it's Miz in at number 3, and my notes say I'm already annoyed with Graves, who used to be really good, and McAfee on commentary. He used to be the best, I thought. Then Kofi comes in at 4, and you were happy because that was one of your longest time people, so you thought you still had a shot.
Maybe he would have if he didn't botch his thing.
Right. One thing I didn't love was when Gargano just sort of has Miz in the ropes and just lets Sheamus come over and do the 10 beats of the Bowery or whatever. I thought Gargano looked kind of lame doing that. Xavier Woods comes in, so he and Kofi hit a whole bunch of double team stuff, and then remember what then my notes say?
The butt slap thing?
Right.
Yeah,
then
like
use each other's butts as drums, question mark?
It's like they fake a wheelbarrow move.
Yeah, like they're going to actually face off, right?
It was like a finger poke of doom, except less offensive, because it doesn't matter.
It was interesting. Cross is in at 7. Jack groans and says he sucks repeatedly. then it says
That sounds like me.
And then Jack then contrasts Cross's strikes with everyone else's, right? Because you're like, look at that. It doesn't.
I thought it was really funny when he faced off with Gunther. That
Yeah.
got a good. That amused me greatly.
Yeah. McIntyre's in at 9, eliminates Cross with a boot pretty quickly.
Oh, that also amused me.
Jack raises a fist in celebration is the note. Escobar at 10, another one of my picks for longest lasting, just to go out on a limb. Dawkins at 11 hits some nice offense on some of the lower card guys in the ring already. Gunther eliminates Woods with a boot. Gunther knocks Kofi off the apron, and they botch him landing.
They go for another chair spot.
Right, and the chair tips over, and you can see their commentary can't figure out if they're supposed to say Kofi's out or not. Kofi's not sure if he's supposed to
use
be.
their commentary lingo,
Did his feet
right?
touch? Right.
I think he got one up. Still,
Right. So yeah, that was interesting. Lesnar's in at 12, and he dominates Drew and Sheamus
he came in pretty early
with suplexes for a little while. Lesnar eliminates Escobar, Gable, and Gargano, and then sort of has a bit of a stare down with Gunther, which I had Jack is pumped for that.
Yeah, except that was
That's
the,
a nice
that was
little
the Mania
tease.
rumor for
Right.
a while, right? Which now I don't know.
And it's still something they can go back to, right? So I think they probably will. Lashley at 13 immediately spears Lesnar and pretty much everybody else as well. Lashley pretty surprisingly quickly, right?
Oh, yeah,
Slips
he
out of an
took out
F5
Yeah, he took out Lesnar
and
pretty
eliminates Lesnar. Jack celebrates.
I was happy, and also, because last year was horrendous. Okay, we cannot allow any repeat. The fact that he didn't get even close to the end is fantastic, and also it was really surprising. So I'll take what I can get.
Corbin then makes his entrance at 14, but Brock is now destroying the announce table, right, with the steel
Apparently
ring
he went
steps.
kind of off script. I think it was that, and then
wouldn't
also when
surprise
he
me.
harassed the ref, I believe.
Then he hits an F5 to Corbin on the floor and shoves the ref over the barricade, right? Jack celebrates as Rollins enters at 15. Rollins rolls Corbin into the ring and then eliminates him with the super kick. Rollins eliminates Lashley, and Jack is thrilled. Yes. Ray and Dominic are 17 and 18 respectively, but Ray never makes his entrance, and Dom enters with a Ray mask, I guess the implication being that he took his father out. And it's sort of a bit
First ever 29-man Rumble.
Dominic versus Mask. Do you remember he's trying to rip the mask, and it's struggling with it? But I guess that kind of works with this character, even if it wasn't on purpose. Elias is in at 19. He hits Gunther with the guitar, and then Sheamus and Drew.
He's got that welt on his back for most of the time.
So
it's like when Joe got hit with the table, ironically.
So Elias is eliminated immediately, and Gunther's back is bleeding from the guitar shot.
Yeah.
Balor's at 20.
Which is weird, because I feel like that doesn't usually happen.
No.
Yeah, Balor's got these ugly half silver, half black pants. It's like his usual pants that I hate, but now I hate it more.
Right.
Why won't he just go back to his normal ring gear? It just looks stupid. I feel like Judgment Day would be so much better if he just wore competent ring gear.
They are actually much improved, though. Gargano's eliminated by Balor and Mysterio. Booker T is the first surprise entrant. Hooray, at 21.
At least he's not at the desk. You should be thankful.
Spinneroonie, Gunther tosses him out, basically.
Yeah, he was there for I want to say less than a minute.
Priest's in at 22. And now that's, 2 of Judgment Day are in?
No, it's all of them.
All 3 at this point, right? Gunther, yes, this is where we notice his back is bloody. And they seem to be going out of their way to focus on it even, rather than their usual plan of hiding it, right? But Montez Ford is in at 23. He takes on Judgment Day, but Priest eventually picks him up and eliminates him pretty quickly
surprisingly quick
for someone who's rumored to be getting a push.
Which I feel is kind of I don't know if that matters, because that we've been saying that for a while. That's been the thing for a while. I feel like that came up a long time ago, and I feel like that's kind of
it just circles back every 9 months.
I'm not even sure about that anymore.
I agree. Edge is...
I remember. I feel because remember there was that random Battle Royal at Survivor Series, not last year, but 2021.
Yeah.
That Omos one. And I think I picked Ford because so that's how long it's been. It's been over a year since those kind of rumors have gone around. So
It'll
I'm not even
circle
sure
back
how
around.
it's the consistent CM Punk return rumors that never came to be.
Exactly. Edge is 24. Jack celebrates because it was one of your picks, right? I think.
Yeah.
Surprise
I don't
picks.
even want him there. I got it right.
Spear for each member of Judgment Day right away. He
Let me see what you picked.
eliminates Priest and Balor. as Edge tries to eliminate Dom. Priest and
You
Balor.
didn't get any of yours.
No. Priest and Dom pull Edge over, eliminate him after a couple of minutes. So there's a lot of people who are not in for very long, right? It seems in this
Yeah,
one.
like in the surprise entrance too, which would be like what Booker and Edge, I would say.
Pretty much. And
And
that's
there's another one.
probably explains why it's the opener.
Yeah.
Theory enters at 25. Edge brawls with Judgment Day before Rhea Ripley shows up to take him out. Then Beth Phoenix shows up to take out Rhea Ripley, right? Omos is 26 and Jack groans. Omos chokeslams Gunther and Strowman enters at 27. We get a big man stare down between he and Omos.
Which that match was awesome, so can't blame him.
And then Strowman eliminates Omos pretty quickly, right? Ricochet is
Thank-
28 as Jack
mercifully.
chants for Cody. Ricochet and Strowman work together briefly there, right?
Yeah, because they're kind of teaming now. Which
Yeah.
Is
Sheamus saves Drew from being eliminated by Gunther. Then Drew saves Sheamus briefly before Gunther dumps them both out of the ring. Logan Paul is 29, and Jack has no choice but to cheer for him. Why was that?
Oh, because I picked him.
Oh, right. Oh, that's why.
Yeah,
It's like,
I
why
got
is Jack-
I got two of my picks.
And he
got
was
none.
embracing the heelness a bit, I thought.
I don't even remember.
He should be, anyways. Everyone attacks Logan Paul, and Jack enjoys it. We get a power slam and a shooting star combination from Ricochet and Strowman. Not in that order, obviously, right? It wasn't a power slam by Ricochet and a shooting star
Okay.
by Strowman
I mean,
to Logan Paul.
maybe.
Cody's obviously number 30. Everyone sits and waits to attack him one-on-one so that he can surprisingly fight all of them off. We get 2 of the 3 amigos by Dominic before a crossroads from Cody, and that eliminates Mysterio. Logan Paul and Ricochet. Oh my God, this was the most memorable spot of this
It was
whole
the-
thing.
Only like actually cool part.
So they're Logan Paul and Ricochet are on opposite aprons, sort of yelling at each other and sort of calling each other on. So they both springboard. I guess they were going for like a clothesline, each of them, or whatever, crossbody.
It's like that
I don't know.
crossbody spot that people do when they run the ropes, except it's 1,000 times
like,
cooler.
The mega collision in midair, right?
And the
Best
smack
spot
was
of
really
the
nice,
match.
Yeah.
Maybe,
It was really cool. That'll be like the thing you kind of remember, like that one
that's
shot
the only
of
thing I'll remember. pretty much.
Logan Paul jumping at Roman Reigns in Saudi. Like it'll be that kind of thing.
Exactly. Braun gets eliminated, and then Theory eliminates Ricochet. Cody, Theory, Gunther, Rollins are the final 4. So we're told.
Which was a pretty sweet.
But
final
Ray
four.
was never there. He's still in it.
No, Logan Paul's still there because he was out on the floor.
He was hiding.
I actually thought he was out, and then he tossed out Seth Rollins.
They can't stop themselves from doing that. Like somebody's been hiding.
At least
right?
one. I'll admit it. They got me this time, okay? Because I didn't pay attention. Like I was like half paying attention, so I swear I thought he was out. 'Cause I just saw him. And I was like, oh, good, he's out.
Well, and that's a very heelish thing to do if he wasn't actually hurt out
I don't
there,
even know how he got out there.
Rollins curb stomp to Theory, then Rhodes eliminates Theory. Rhodes pedigrees Gunther after Rollins does as well. Gunther then officially sets the record for time in one Rumble. Logan Paul comes back, throws Rollins out because Paul was still in the match.
Stupid.
Crossroads to Paul, and Cody throws him over.
Yeah.
Then we get Walter and Cody, right? Chops to the repaired pec.
Who?
Walter and Cody?
Who?
Oh, I did write Walter. Gunther and Cody. So it's number 1 and 30 are down to the final 2.
Which they are quick to mention. I don't think it's happened before.
And they actually gave these 2 a bit of time. Sometimes I'm disappointed like that they just make the last
That does seem to
elimination
be the
really
move
quick.
sometimes, right?
They kind of gave these guys a mini match at the end, which I
Who
thought
was
was
the
cool.
runner-up last year? I want to say it was McIntyre. I
Sup-
don't even remember.
Superplex from Gunther. I had Walter again. Seemed like he kind of missed a couple opportunities to eliminate Cody, like if you're being really picky. But anyways, that's fine, I guess. What do we get? Cody Cutter, Gunther over the ropes, but lands on the apron. Shattered Dreams to Gunther a little bit later.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Drop kick powerbomb to Rhodes. He's almost eliminated. Another crossroads for Gunther, and then Cody eliminates him, right? So Cody wins, no surprise. Everyone knew it was happening. Andy entered at 30. Not the like kind of anticlimactic, right? But I don't know. I didn't think this was a great Royal Rumble, but it did enough to keep my interest. And like, I think several storylines developed or got furthered, right? You've got Lashley Lesnar's underway, like Gunther Lesnar question mark, right? Circle back around to that. Edge Judgment Day stuff is back. Rollins seems to be Logan Paul coming out of this, right?
I hope not, but probably.
So I do like when there's some sort of story advancement, so I can't complain too much about that. Memorable spots, the only things I'll remember are the Kofi botch and Ricochet Paul collision. And it's harsh to call Kofi a botch. Like, he's doing stuff nobody else does, and he
Right.
messed it up. But you know what I mean.
But that's twice in a row,
That is 2 years in a row. You are correct.
which is kind of
So no really interesting surprise entrance, right?
nothing. I would like imagine. People thought Jay White. I knew that wouldn't happen, but like nothing of that
No.
magnitude at all.
And a really predictable winner.
And even some of the surprise entrants like Edge and Paul, I easily predicted because those got leaked
Right.
a little while ago. Right?
Oh, that's how you got them. I see.
I told you that,
I'm
and
just
I
kidding.
put it in the news. You should have picked them too.
No
NXT guys.
Super happy for Gunther because he's
I just
awesome
realized.
and he had an amazing showing here, right?
Yeah, you're saying like it's kind of
Historic,
something to give
whatever,
someone,
whatever.
Right?
But it wasn't a strong Rumble match. I don't think it was awful. I don't know. What did you think?
I thought it was like, it was okay.
I wasn't bored.
No, and I feel like it does. Its image benefits from last year being completely abysmal.
Yes.
Like not good.
Didn't I really dislike the women's one last year too?
No, the women's one was the one that was okay.
Oh, was the better one?
The men's one sucked.
Gotcha.
Because like Big E did nothing.
Right.
Lesnar took out a bunch of people and won for no reason. Shane
Right.
came in.
Yeah.
Rollins wasn't even in it. So
Yeah,
I
this
was
one-
annoyed. Like this one had Rollins in it. Big E still injured. Lesnar didn't win and got eliminated quickly. No Bad Bunny.
Right.
But there was Logan Paul. But he did something cool, so
Yeah.
that's okay. But he also tossed out Rollins, so it's like 50-50 here. But Gunther ends up looking really nice. Him and McIntyre and Sheamus had a decent stretch.
Yep.
I feel like the middle rumbles were kind of peaks. You had like Lashley, Lesnar, McIntyre, Sheamus, Gunther all in there, which that was a really nice kind of field to have. Like obviously it was pretty short lived with some of them getting out quick.
Mm-hmm.
But
And a decent little mini match at the end.
right, yeah. And Cody wins, obviously, which is obvious, but I think not in a bad way. I think it was
No,
the right
predictable's not always
it's
bad.
the right choice too. And now everyone looks stupid because Sammy wasn't even in there. So
Yes,
don't y'all
that's
feel stupid
disappointing,
now?
but I get it.
I don't think you should have been in.
Just for the crowd. I don't know. But anyways, then this show hits a lull, I would suggest, after, like, and I didn't even love the opener, but things kind of descend from there, and we get the aforementioned
Into the depths of the pitch
Mountain
black.
Dew pitch black match with LA Knight taking on Bray Wyatt. And my first note says, Jack can describe what a pitch black match looks like.
Neon.
Black lights, basically. If you've ever been to, like, rock and bowling or, like, certain mini putts indoors that do
That's
black
a better way to
light
put
stuff,
it, yeah.
right?
And-
Cheesy for
and-
a supernatural, whatever, spooky dude to be like, it's the Mountain Dew black light match.
And Bray Wyatt had Jeff Hardy 2002 paint.
Yeah.
What
And
was
LA
it?
Knight was wearing,
Neon trunks.
right, that really were highlighted
Yeah,
by
Bray
the
Wyatt,
black lights.
like he had like contacts saying he had like glow in the dark paint circa
Yeah.
2002 Jeff Hardy.
Exactly.
Which I thought that amused me, like not in like a more in like a why.
Right.
I don't know. It was weird.
I don't have a ton on this one. Wyatt dominates early until Knight runs him into the ring steps. Wyatt then stands on the steps and Knight launches himself from the barricade. And then they both go through a table that vomits neon graffiti. Is my note.
That was so weird because I could see it like coming out when he was moving the monitors.
Yeah, and there's like cups of it sitting. I don't know. Anyways, kendo stick attack by LA Knight, but we get a Sister Abigail from Wyatt, and it's over? Question mark.
Oh, it was over really fast.
Jack
like,
and I look at each other in disbelief, and Jack mutters, "What the hell was that?" Post match, Bray follows LA Knight and shrugs off kendo stick shots to the head. We get a mandible claw tonight on the stage. Uncle Howdy shows up on top of scaffolding or whatever
some
it is,
giant thing.
and then jumps. My notes have quotation marks onto because it
Just
was not.
Suicide bomb kind of thing.
Beside LA Knight and through the stage or the boxes or whatever this was, but he clearly missed this jump. I don't know, man. This is supposed to be one of your biggest pay-per-views, PLEs of the year, and this was nothing. This was like really slow, like not as good as a lot of TV matches, but it had black lights, I guess. Like, I don't know. Wyatt, man, I know you like him. All sizzle, no steak. There's nothing there.
This no, I think some of the stuff he does is, but this was not it.
And then the bell rings, to steal a line from one of those idiot podcast stuff. I think it's the guy that does all of them.
It's possible to give him a match that's cool, but I think most of them are like Swamp Fight, House of Horrors.
They're gimmick,
this
they're
one.
sizzle. There's all the sizzle there, but there's
the
nothing.
Firefly Funhouse one was good. Oh, the Inferno match, that one sucked too because he got burned.
Yeah, it's silly. His matches are boring. The crowd wasn't into this. This is going to make the worst of shortlist probably, because I thought, especially considering that this is on their whatever one of the big shows of the year, this was not good. Your thoughts?
Like, it was stupid mostly because it's a sponsorship. Like, you could give. I don't know what this has to do with Bray or LA Knight, and to promote a drink, really. Like, and all the neon or black light stuff was stupid. And then it was to boot. It was really short. Like, you can't really sink your teeth into anything. And then what was the stuff after the match? He put on a mask for some reason.
Oh,
and
right.
Uncle Howdy.
Yep.
Explain, please.
Cannot.
Like, I hope they have some segment for that on SmackDown, because I'm confused.
I just went to my document where I'm keeping notes on the best and worst stuff, and I already put it in there.
Where
I forgot.
does Bray go now?
Exactly. I don't know. LA Knight. I think LA Knight's going to be relieved to get away from this and be done with it, probably.
I'm not sure what he does.
Because I would be. Then things don't get any better, right? We move into the Raw Women's Championship match with Bianca Belair defending against Alexa Bliss. We're told this is the second longest reign for Belair as a women's champion,
Lynch.
right? And so Belair's in control early, and then we get sort of like a hair-assisted bow and arrow from Alexa Bliss, then another boring submission from Bliss, then another, which was a chin lock. Sudden suplex by Belair shifts the momentum back in her direction. She chokes Bliss for a long time in the corner to, like my notes say, to add to the snail's pace of this. There's like lots of time where not much is going, not lots of time because the match was short, but like within that, lots of time where nothing was happening.
Other than being conflicted with the Howdy stuff now, like, what's Bliss's gimmick?
What does she do in the ring? It's my question. She gets a flurry of kicks, then there's a little bit of awkwardness and then a DDT, and then just kind of KOD and it's over, right? And then you can
it was
sort
really
of
short too. I was like, what?
You can sort of summarize for me. I have spookiness as Bliss sits in the ring lamenting her loss. What was the spookiness?
I don't know.
I don't remember. This was really bad, I thought. It was slow. Bliss did not seem capable of doing anything other than strikes and kicks that don't look great. And just so many basic submissions in such a short match. Like 2 matches in a row that I wouldn't even consider decent TV matches, let alone like on a Big 4 show. So I don't know
I don't know why because they had a match on Raw already. So why couldn't you just stick a rematch on Raw? You relegated DeVille and Flair to SmackDown this week. Why don't you just put them on the Raw after? And we could avoid this.
Yeah, this was. I don't see the point of this.
And like normally,
I love Bianca Belair.
Normally, I don't ask for this on a main roster show, but if these are so short, put more matches on. Like at least 1 or 2 more, like that have substance.
Just to cleanse my palate from this nonsense. Like in between these two or after these two.
Rare is it gonna be them asking for more matches?
But I think the show was already 4-something hours. Probably over 4 hours.
Rumble matches and all.
Any thoughts on this? I don't need to give your thoughts. You loved it, obviously.
It was really not much. Like I hardly remember it.
Yeah.
A week on, and I didn't really care for it either. Like this kind of does a bit of a disservice to Belair and doesn't really do anything for Bliss either.
Nope. And then another awkward thing right after that was pretty bad as well. Remember the Applebee's commercial with Lynch and Rollins?
Oh, I hated that.
So bad. So bad. Anyways, hopefully my notes aren't as long for this. They've taken a while. So it's the women's Royal Rumble match this time. And what do we have here? Ripley's in at number 1, obviously. Liv Morgan's in at number 2 after she really wanted to be number 1, right? So she doesn't quite get what she wants. And this is where I'm saying I would love at this point for Ripley to get the Lesnar treatment and just keep throwing people out as they come in. I thought that would have been cool, but they don't. So Ripley dominates Morgan. Good old Dana Brooke enters number 3. I'm sure she was your number 1 pick to win, right?
I was like, she's still here.
Ripley gets posted, and Brooke and Morgan sort of quote-unquote battle.
They mentioned that Brooke's been in like every Rumble match.
Right.
I'm just like, okay.
And a semi-superplex to Morgan, I put. Ripley botches a Canadian backbreaker to Brooke and falls over, remember? Right as Emma's coming in at number 4. 3 people gang up on Ripley as Baszler enters at 5 and Jack cheers.
Woo.
Baszler throws Morgan and Brooke around a bit before stomping Brooke's arm as Bayley enters at 6. Lull in the action, B-Fab enters at 7, and I'm happy for we were excited because we're just like, how bad is she going to look and what's she going to screw up? We were like celebrating B-Fab coming in.
Yeah.
She wasn't in long.
She was out fast, yeah.
They do her a favor and attack her one at a time so she can fight some of them off, but then a Ripley headbutt and she's out. Roxanne Perez is in, gets a pretty nice reaction. She's the first surprise entrance at 8, right? Which is already more interesting than all of the men's surprise entrance, right? At least it's somebody new, I guess. So she actually picks up the pace. I thought looked pretty good here when she came in. Dakota Kai's at 9. She, of course, helped save Bayley from elimination right there. Nothing really happens before Io enters at 10. Now all 3 damage control are in the ring, and Io's just kind of running around kicking everybody. Damage control go on a run, then they eliminate Dana Brooke, Emma, and Roxanne Perez. Good old Natalia enters at 11, and the crowd goes mild, my note says. Punches, then nothing happens some more until LeRae enters at 12. This started to frustrate me, right? Like, the person coming, I think it's in my notes, I'll wait. Damage control then take out Baszler and Natalia, as Baszler has Natalia in a chokehold. Zoe Stark is another surprise entrance at 13. I should have taken her, or did I take her? I can't remember. I thought about it.
For what?
She fights a surprise entrant. She fights off damage control with strikes and suplexes. Why are you looking at me like that?
Forgot who you said.
Zoe Stark.
Oh.
Xia Li enters at 14 with
Did you take? Yeah, you did.
some sort of staff, but the ref takes it away and she kicks a bunch of people. Candice LeRae is pushed off the top.
Wow, you got none of them again. You
eliminated
suck.
by Io. Becky Lynch is 15. She goes right for Bayley, and she takes out Sky and Kai in the process. Numbers game gets to Lynch
It's
on the
Kai
floor.
and Sky. All right.
Damage control runner into the barricade and then the announce table. Tegan Knox is 16. She hits a Molly go round to Ripley, shout out to Scripps, and runs around hitting corner attacks. Liv and Knox team up briefly on Stark and almost eliminate her as Asuka enters at 17 with a new look and a
decked out like
huge
her,
reaction,
her
right?
Japan look. Yeah, I was surprised to see her.
People were thrilled to see her. She's awesome, so I'm super happy for that. Everyone is scared of Asuka, like in the ring. The crowd is super hyped.
Yeah, she looks sweet with the full face paint look.
Shorter hair, right? I think too.
Yeah, a little bit like her early NXT days, right?
Right.
Like the face paint harkened back to Japan. Like she looked really sweet. Like,
she did.
It looked sick.
She suplexes Stark, back fists, and kicks to Bayley. Asuka kicks Tegan Knox off the apron to eliminate her. Piper Niven, not Dewdrop.
Yeah, I thought I kind of popped for that a little bit.
Surprise debut.
I did think she would. Did I put her in my picks? Let me just check.
I don't think so.
I don't think I did. I should have, because
oh my god, and
she was one of the rumored. But like, I was happy she had her name back. Like that's good for her.
She goes on a nice run, but then it's like commentary are tripping over themselves to do puns about her previous name, right? Because they don't want to say that it's formerly Dewdrop, but it's like, I do believe she's gonna drop everybody and stuff like that.
No, they didn't.
Oh, like 3 or 4 different times.
That's so bad.
Tamina's in at 19. She and Niven face off because powerhouses, I guess. Tamina super kick. Lynch is back in and she DDTs 2 of damage control. Chelsea Green's another surprise at 20. That one was rumored, right?
I was pretty happy with that because that was my first pick.
Right.
I nailed it.
She's immediately thrown out by Tamina to set a new record for that. And I guess that's tying into her. You said she's doing like a Karen gimmick, so she can complain about that, I guess.
I didn't actually see anything yet, but that's what I've heard.
Lynch eliminates Sky. Bayley eliminates Becky. Liv eliminates Bayley in rapid succession. Zelina Vega's 21 and is a street fighter.
Yeah, I think she's actually like in the game.
I think she's a commentator or something is what I heard.
Something like that, yeah. I don't know how, but...
Code Red to Ripley. Lee and Vega battle on the apron, and Vega eliminates Xia Li. Rodriguez is 22. Dominates everyone for a bit. Michin is 23. She dominates for a little bit. Shocking, because this is the pattern of this match. More so than usual, honestly. Including a DDT to Ripley. Lacey Evans at 24. Sure, she dominates with basic stuff for a minute. Michelle McCool is a surprise at 25. She comes out of the front row. Styles clash to Vega. McCool eliminates Tamina. Indy Hartwell, yet another surprise at 26 to no reaction. Whoops, unfortunately. She does the same as everyone else. This is possibly the most repetitive Rumble match I have ever seen. Deville is 27, eliminates Stark, and then she and Asuka kick each other in the head at the same time. Evans Cobra clutch to Zelina Vega in the corner. Vega gets dropped and eliminated. Lands pretty hard. It looked like she took a pretty serious landing there. Shotzi is 28, and Jack groans. High cross body and kicks. Deville eliminates Indy just before Nikki Cross enters at 29, and guess what? She dominates right away. How refreshing. Nia Jax is 30 and Jack is done. Did
I
you
was
walk
like,
out of the room at that point?
I just as a joke, yeah, because I was like, oh, that was so stupid. Like of all the 30 and of all the last entrants you could have picked, you picked Nia Jax.
They all gang up and attack her, but she's just too strong. Ripley can't slam Jax and can barely hit a riptide. Remember, it was like
yeah.
really weak. A group and eliminates Jax, and she is mad. Rodriguez eliminates Evans, then tries to eliminate Asuka, who ends up on the apron battling Deville. Asuka eliminates Deville just before Evans, Shotzi, and Michin get eliminated to get down to 6. Niven suplexes Rodriguez before a cannonball. Raquel eliminates Niven with a boot. Ripley eliminates Rodriguez. Cross goes for a draping DDT to Asuka on the apron, but Liv Morgan runs into Cross and eliminates her. Morgan, Asuka, and Ripley are our final 3. Asuka dominates until Liv and Ripley work together briefly. All 3 are on the apron. We get the miss to Liv Morgan, but Rhea eliminates Asuka, and Morgan is now blind. Rhea slips and is almost out, but Liv can't see. You got Ripley hanging from the rope. She grabs Liv Morgan with her ankles and flips Morgan to the floor, and Rhea Ripley wins the Royal Rumble.
Whipped her pretty hard, too.
Yeah, she did. From the number 1 spot, so like super mega awesome for Rhea Ripley.
Like Gunther, but better.
Yeah, like Gunther plus actually winning, right? So, I mean, this one for me, I was really sensitive to the same formula over and over. New entrant comes in, hits
It was
some
a lot
moves,
more apparent here, right?
then they just stand around, like almost nothing happening. And it was really pronounced. Nothing of note happens between anyone unless they're interacting with the person that just came in.
Right.
Everyone
they'll
just
get, like,
sort
their
of
flurry of offense.
there's
right?
just like lame kicks or stomps or struggling to lift people. And I know you're gonna be like, yeah, every Rumble does that. I feel like it was glaringly obvious here. I was really frustrated by like the mid-20s entrance here. Honestly, nothing memorable outside of the reaction Asuka got. Like, was there any big spot that was cool? I don't think of any really. And the outcome of this, just like the men's, right, was super predictable.
Yeah, it was both of our first picks again, right?
So
as if there was any doubt.
Another kind of felt similarly to the men's. At least there were better. So I think this one had better surprises, but not as many like storylines and things being furthered that I'm aware of.
I think like there wasn't a lot in the men's one, but I feel like there was better other stuff.
But so not boring, but not exciting either, right?
Yeah.
So in a couple years, I'll barely remember anything from this, right? There's nothing I'll be like.
No, there's
Whereas
not like a Logan Paul spot.
There's like, and I know like we're hard on WWE. There's several things from this week's Dynamite that I'll probably remember. You know what I mean? Ahead of this pay-per-view. So, and this is where apparently Hardy played a song live, but we missed it. Sorry,
God.
were your thoughts on that match? Anything different?
No, it was. I don't know. It's kind of, I think I like the men's one a little more.
I did too.
Just
I
on
think
the whole.
I do too.
Obviously, the entrance disappointed me then, but I feel like on the whole.
Yep, I agree. So we missed Hardy. That's a shame. Main event time. It's Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Championship. So Roman's in control early until a back elbow sends. I'm gonna really summarize this one basically. It's a very solid back and forth match, right? And any major spots, do you remember anything major?
The stairs thing.
Oh yes, super painful again.
That was like, I was wincing.
Yeah, it looked crazy. Owens botches a moonsault attempt, right? But kind of lands right on Reigns, and then they do it over again, and so Reigns moves and hits a spear. Pop-up powerbomb, and I think we got like the visual pinfall, right? Because the referee was taken out.
Yeah, I think they did one of those.
And then like the drama kicks in, right? So I'll go a little more detailed from there. You get the low blow by Roman, and he's asking Sammy for a chair, and Sammy's torn, right? Because we've been sort of monitoring his reaction to see, is he loyal to Roman? Is he worried about his longtime best friend?
Make that a point as well.
Right. Sammy then reminds Roman, like, listen, you told me I wasn't supposed to do anything, right? But Roman orders him to get a chair. Sammy hesitates. Owens recovers enough to hit a stunner here for a really good, like, I want to say good near fall. You still know it's not happening, but it was like still really well done near fall, right? Then a pop-up power bomb that gets countered into a spear, Superman punch, but Owens still manages to kick out. Owens ends up
Superman punch?
Yeah, no. So crazy. Owens ends up on the floor with Sammy, and Sammy's just like, stay down, stay down. So Roman runs over and spears Owens through the barricade. Again, that looked great this time. Reigns shoves Owen down hard on the steps again. Sammy's looking concerned, right? Because it does look painful. He does it again, and it looks like it's killing Owens back in the back of his head, right? I don't know. there's no good way to take that, right? You've just
Oh,
got to be like,
I was wincing, like, that got a reaction on me,
yeah,
which,
it was a lot.
like, it was in multiple times, so I was just like, why? Like, it looks so, like, I don't know how you, it just looks so,
So
it's ingrained in my mind.
Owens is briefly defiant here, but then it's one more spear from Reigns, and the match is over. Um, and then Reigns, basically after one of the Usos, because I'll never get them straight, is about to give Sammy his necklace, right? And
Jay.
Reigns stops him from doing that.
Jay.
The Usos then attack Owens, who's still on the ground.
Oh my god, the amount of super kicks, like, made me laugh.
It's great,
like,
just a vicious
it was
attack.
so much. I was like, relax.
And Reigns is making Sammy watch. Then they put a chair on Kevin Owens' neck, and Sikoa runs into it hip first. Then they get handcuffs out, and Sammy is like looking torn by this, right? And just stressed out. More super kicks to Owens, who's now handcuffed to the ropes. Just a vicious assault on this guy. Sammy then tries to talk Roman out of hitting Owens with the chair. So Reigns, of course, you see it coming, but it was still amazing. Hands the chair to Sammy instead, like, fine, I'm not going to hit him with the chair, but you are, which was amazing, right? Sammy argues that he's like, Owens is done, like, he's done, we don't need to do this. Roman tells Sammy he loves him and that Owens has basically held him down and been an anchor. And something, I think he said something about, like, last year at this time you were in like a Jackass match or something. Like you were
it was the setup last year because Knoxville was in the Rumble last year.
Right. So Roman turns his back to Sammy, and the crowd, even at home, right? We're like bubbling with anticipation here. Is Sammy gonna do it? Is he not? Reigns then pie faces Sammy. Roman turns his back one more time, and this time Sammy does it. He hits Roman Reigns in the back with the chair, and the crowd like goes bananas, and I was into it as well. I'm not gonna lie. Because I don't know which one. And Uso super kicks Sammy.
Jimmy.
There you go. Sikoa hits the Samoan spike. General beatdown of Sammy. And then the bad Uso, Jay, I guess, in this case, walks away. And the crowd just loves that too, right? Roman then wears Sammy out with the chair. This was the best thing on the show, I think, is probably going to be consensus. The match was good, right? Like a very good back and forth match. I thought Owens looked pretty awesome in defeat here because he just took an absolute beating and just kept kicking out of a lot of Reigns' best stuff, right? Owens' flurries of offense looked great in contrast to like Reigns' style is so deliberate, right?
It was definitely more like that though. Like I remember kind of got pointed out more like in the pandemic matches with like Jay and like the early one with Owens back when they were in the Thunderdome, right?
Yeah.
And the rings were also more mic'd and whatever.
Yep.
So I think it's gotten a little better, right? Because I think it was a lot. Like
and also in this one, in the lulls, we had Sammy's reaction and stuff to focus on.
Yeah, it kind of spices it up, right?
So we had other things to do in between. It was the aftermath, right? Just like absolutely compelling, dramatic stuff. This is what I think smart wrestling fans want, right? And just we're pretty hard on WWE a lot, but clearly there's people here, whether it's Heyman and others or whatever, who can do long-term storytelling, who can just do amazing stuff. And like they have performers that are absolutely crushing this stuff every week. Like both of the Usos, Sikoa in his role, right, is fantastic.
Right, however
Sammy's next level. Just everything in this.
Roman's great opposite him, right? So
yeah, this was just like
obviously everything can't be like long-term like this, but I feel like when you have the opportunity to do something like this, like this is what you should be doing.
This is one of the all-time great storylines I would suggest to you in WWE history.
Yeah.
Just the length, just how good it's been pretty much throughout. I've always said there was a bit of a lull.
I feel like it's the first time I've actually lived through something like this because when's the last time they've actually done something this good?
And this is why, folks, WWE frustrates the crap out of us because they can do stuff like this, but they don't, right? They're catering to a younger, simpler base. I don't know.
Anyone could get into this though, if depending on what it is, right?
This is the stuff that marginal fans, or like I was saying, I think last week, like I'm hearing lots of people saying they're getting their significant other who's not a fan to be like, watch these clips every week at least, right? And see that this is the drama people want. This is fantastic stuff. So now, like, you've got Sammy, you've got which Uso? Jimmy?
Which one?
The one that walked away.
Jay.
So, like, the fans are riveted and want to know what's going on next with them, right? So this is just fantastic stuff, and it makes me happy. I don't want to dislike everything WWE does, right? I want to like wrestling. I'm a wrestling fan. This has been fantastic. This was the best thing on this show, right? Like, and I'm usually the guy that really cares about wrestling more than other stuff. I think you have to have everything, but this was by far the best thing on this show.
Oh yeah, it was the only thing I actually really enjoyed. Like the
Like,
whole aftermath, like had me like,
Yeah.
that's when I was paying attention. That's the only time
Yes.
I was like into it.
And that was
kind of had that. I had this weird gut feeling too, because I was like,
No, it was.
I didn't know it was gonna happen. Like you can kind of tell eventually, but like even still, I'm just like, when's he gonna do it? There's one time where I thought he was gonna do it, then he didn't do it, then he did it later.
Yeah.
And then I was just like,
And
then
the fact that Sammy
Jay
was
walked away, I was just like,
I know.
my mind was blown.
Beautiful.
I was just like, that blew my mind.
And the fact that Sammy did it and didn't get turned on, right? He struck first, I think, is awesome. And
I
makes
like
him
that,
look
yeah. Which is
not what they normally do.
I'm not sure if that's what I would have expected.
No, because they don't normally do that.
Right? Yeah. So
they'll let him be because they
because
tend to
he's
do
turning face.
they tend to do stupid baby face, right?
Right.
Where it's like you're dumb and you hang on too long and then they kill you. Whereas this one, Sammy, yeah, it was just
he
perfect.
got killed still.
This, yes,
But
yeah, just
Owens like looked awesome too, just like kind of just limp there.
and the viciousness of the beatdown was crazy. So fantastic end to this show. I liked the main event match as well, but it was obviously the aftermath was the key. Overall rating, the finish of that match is not enough to sort of.
No, it doesn't save the whole show, right?
No. So
like,
I'm
the
gonna
short
go.
matches were so weird.
I'm gonna go C+ as high as I can go. Like an all-time segment after the main
and
event.
I think that undoubtedly deserves to go on last. Like I think that was the right move, but
that like saves it from being like a D+ show. I could almost go B- based
I don't
on the
think
strength
I
of
can
that.
justify
No,
it
I can't quite either.
Like,
I'll
I
stick
think
with C+.
The men's rumble was solid. It definitely like
Then
saved it
trash
from being as bad as last year because I hated it last year.
Yeah.
Women's rumble wasn't very good,
And then
save for Ripley's dominance.
garbage in between.
And then, yeah, like none like short-lived garbage, none like notable. Like it was just like, I don't even understand what happened in the middle.
Like,
It
why
might
did
as well
you
not be
bother
there.
building these things to give us this?
Could have had 2 rumbles in the main event and I would have been fine.
Yep, agreed.
And then the main event was a pretty good match. Like
it
I
was a
think
good match, for
it's
sure.
the only time I've seen them face off in a normal division because even their 2017 match was no holds barred. Then they
Right.
had a TLC match at TLC. Then they had a last man standing match in 2021. So this one was under normals. It was pretty cool. The stairs spot was
Awesome.
like just again Winston. I was like kind of turning away a bit, like, and then the segment was simply incredible. Like I would like to maybe watch that full thing back sometimes.
Yep.
It was insane. Like I was just captivated when Jay walked away. Like, and his facial expressions were superb. By the way,
Perfect.
And like they just killed Owens and Zayn. Like that'll build them as like they're gonna be a sick team. Like 'cause they have the team, right?
I would think so.
Like it's gonna be so sweet when they do.
Yep.
It's gonna be so good. And like
Look at us loving
it's gonna be so
stuff.
centered around Sammy and Jay too. Like I think that's gonna be really
Right.
cool. I hope Jay eventually kind of falls in line a bit because at least to lose the titles, or maybe he doesn't and that loses them the titles, and then Jay can turn on Roman. Because if you think about that, that's at least like 3 years in the making or
Right.
something. Which would
And
be
you can get months and
insane.
months more of this similar story,
Yeah.
right? And keep this going.
And you got Zayn and Roman at Chamber, so that'll
Yeah.
be sweet. And in Montreal, nonetheless. So like
I know.
that'll
They've
be
got us
sweet.
loving some WWE stuff. It feels good. It's refreshing for sure.
It's weird.
It is weird. So anyways, yep, that is our Royal Rumble review. This is going to make a long episode because we are just about to start now, almost an hour in, getting into our in-depth review of this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. All right, let's get through Dynamite, man. It's almost midnight.
Does punching your phone ever make it get Wi-Fi?
And I have to get up early tomorrow. Well, early-ish, anyways, for basketball. So talk about Dynamite, man. I'm kind of excited to talk about it, so it might take a while, but let's get into it.
Yeah, so they started with pretty hot with Hangman and Moxley.
I've heard of them.
Round 3, I think. So Mox attacked him right away during his entrance. They were brawling on the outside. Then like it hasn't started yet, and Hangman flung a chair at Mox. The match obviously hasn't started. They got in the ring and the match actually started, so that was whole kind of legal, I guess.
And I'm not a huge fan of brawling, but I thought like
the
with
intensity is there.
with these guys, it makes sense. They're pretty good at it, and somehow before the match starts bothers me less than when it's like part of the actual match. I don't know. It didn't bother me that much.
Yeah,
Anyways.
it was in like I feel like the
The feud
intensity is
warrants
there,
it a
right?
bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
And considering that's been a lot of the feud.
Right.
Mox is also bleeding already.
Of course.
That figures.
Immediately.
Hangman goes for a springboard clothesline with Mox on the apron, but Mox kind of counters with a clothesline club of his own, which was kind of cool because it just like Hangman just kind of goes right into his pretty meaty shot.
Yes.
There's an Avalanche DVD from Hangman for 2, which Mox kind of landed like a little higher, which made it look pretty cool.
Looked awesome, yeah.
There's a cutter from Mox. Armbar applied, Juji Katami.
Right.
But Hangman gets a rope break. Hangman misses the moonsault to the outside, lands on his feet, which was pretty nuts.
It was.
Mox hits a lariat, which you're saying like his ankles would be screwed.
Oh, I couldn't believe like how do you can't do that a lot, like be flipping over the ropes and landing on your feet on the floor like concrete with a 2-inch mat or whatever.
Kind of bend, right? Like,
yeah, it can't be good.
Pop-up powerbomb to the timekeeper's table from Hangman, which was a little almost didn't get it, but I think they nailed it pretty good.
I kind of think it was effective like that because it looks like you almost lost control of him, and then
so like it had a nice look to it.
Yeah,
right?
I liked it.
Deadeye from Hangman for a near fall. Mox connects with that big King Kong lariat. Then he hit. Then there was a buckshot lariat for a near fall, which was surprising.
Yes, to kick out. Yeah.
Hangman got Mox in the bulldog choke off the back of that kick out, and then Mox comes in like he counters with a kind of a tight pin, and he picks up the surprise win.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of an argument after, but Blackpool are kind of there to keep it.
Yeah, fantastic match. I pretty much love this. They beat the hell out of each other, right? Just really snug forearms and things, and a couple avalanche moves, and the package pile driver, or small package driver that Paige did looked awesome. So
yeah, I forgot he did that.
Just super intense back and forth stuff, stiff shots, a bit of high impact things, and a couple memorable spots with the table and whatnot. And like, I love the story of like Paige kind of got caught up in the moment, right? And he wants to prove a point, so he's going to hit Mox with his own finisher. Only Mox counters that for the pinfall, especially when like after all the violence and like hard hitting stuff in this match, it's a cool bit of storytelling to have it win with the counter and that pinfall,
Which you can
right?
tell like, well, Hangman was really annoyed, obviously, because he didn't win.
And I think there's a hint of that's not how Mox wanted to win it.
I think commentary
they did too.
mentioned that too, right? Which kind of got me kind of noticing that.
So, like, are we going to get another match then? I'm fine.
I was thinking maybe.
I'm fine with that, right? They have, obviously, these guys have excellent chemistry, right? I could easily watch another match. I thought this was a fantastic opener, a great start of the show, and I was pretty confident that this would be my match of the night, but there is some debate as we get through this show. So, awesome start. You?
Yeah, I think it was good, but like I definitely think, yeah, it gets better later. It was pretty good to start us off this week. It felt like one because I feel like the last couple of weeks I was like,
it's weird. I think I like this more than you, and it's your two guys.
No, it was like because last couple of weeks I was like, I think this was a good opener.
Oh yeah, this was awesome.
It's a better feud. Mox is an Ohio guy, so it's a good choice to start. I think they gave us another good one here. Even if I may have enjoyed the previous one a little more, a lot of hard hitting shots in here. Which there was the one layer that mimicked the knockout blow really well. I was pretty surprised he kicked out of the buckshot too. Like you could tell he's gonna kick out, but I was surprised they made the call to do that. I guess because it's a pretty protected move.
It is.
I thought the finish was pretty well done too. Pin looked pretty tight. Worked as a submission well. I like them how they played it off afterwards. Like Mox is kind of annoyed, Hangman's annoyed, so maybe you get a fourth match, which is kind of surprising, but seems possible now, and I'm okay with it.
Me too.
Then we got a quick Darby on Samoa Joe package. Not much. We're getting no holds barred match for the TNT title tonight because Joe wants his rematch. Darby wants this to be a finale, so no rematches.
The king will not be usurped by a man like you.
Dead boy.
Love that. And we both smile when Joe calls Darby dead boy.
I thought it was solid. Explains the getting the stipulation. I think Joe's bits were clipped from some previous promos, but I think it's still amusing.
Yep.
The fact that they're saying this will be the definitive finale is interesting because then I don't know how, you can't really go back, I guess.
No, I thought like Samoa Joe's fantastic. Darby was good here too, and it was a quick, cool little segment that accomplished something, right? We get the rematch and it's no holds barred, and we know that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
Good little segment. And
Then we get a big one. Jamie Hayter and Bunny. Woo! Bunny says they're all impressed because she's with Butcher and Blade with Hayter's win. Let's go over Emi Sakura. So just big name after big name here. And she knows Hayter doesn't back down, so she challenges her to an eliminator match next week.
Because that's what baby faces do. They don't turn down a challenge. Double turn.
Okay.
Tapping.
Hayter accepts, says she'd like a challenge. And she's free next week. Renee says she's hearing about something. We cut to Saraya and I think Tony Storm. I didn't pay attention. Attacking Baker in the parking lot.
We're heels in case you forgot. Right? Is what it felt like. In case you're not up to speed. So yeah, I don't know. Basically remind us Saraya and Storm are heels. And sure seems like Jamie Hayter's a face now, right? Taking on challenges from random heels as well. Because Bunny's a heel. Challenging our babyface champion, I guess. So interesting, like, multiple person double turn. Because, I don't know, I guess we'll get to Britt later. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, and like Bunny in an eliminator just is like, I don't know. I got a good chuckle out of haters using the word challenge in reference
Right.
to her. The thing I wrote was haters saying the word challenge in reference to the Bunny is funny to me. Accidental rhyme. The attack bit was whatever. I guess the double turn is upon us, which is still bizarre.
It is a bit strange.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're trying to write a big story for women, so I guess we need, since that's what we've been saying they need to do, we should ride it out and see how it goes. But I can't say I'm captivated so far, but who knows?
Yeah, and I guess then we're supposed to boo Saraya, but
I guess, which I want to, so that's easy. I was going to anyways.
I guess
I was going to do that anyways.
Next we get the acclaimed in action with jobber guns, which we dubbed the water pistols.
Because they're not guns. I have question mark.
I don't know who they
Acclaimed.
They hit Scissor Me Timbers to the one guy, and then hit him with the rival mic drop for the win.
Yep.
So
this was to get to the segment after.
Squash.
Yep.
Yeah, then the guns come out to their theme, which I love so much. I don't
mind it.
I hate it.
It's retro.
I hate it. Colton says last week they said they want a title shot. They want an answer now. Bowen says they want an answer, and they do realize they're interrupting the most popular team in wrestling. Winning his team in AEW, everyone loves the acclaimed. Bowen says they're the people's choice and the people's voice. They say they should ask the people, and the people chant no, and they boo and whatever. So they say no to the challenge. Guns get in their faces. Billy Gunn says enough, and he's had enough. As he walks up the ramp, Austin says he can do what he did their whole childhood and walk away. And says he should do what he did then and drown his sores in a pill bottle.
That one got me.
Pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
Gunn comes back to the ring and says they think they have what it takes, and he grants them the title shot, and we'll see next week. And the acclaimed are kind of like, what?
Yeah, I think maybe the Guns could be a solid like mid-card healed team, but they're not believable title contenders.
We don't have mid-card tag champs.
No. And it's weird because we've been down this road before with the Guns and the acclaimed, right? But I still found myself enjoying this segment. I thought Bowens, who did most of the talking, right? Almost all the talking for the claim, sounded awesome. And Austin's shot at Billy was pretty savage, the pill reference.
That was a nice line.
And I thought when Billy came back and got in Austin's face, Austin did some really good acting, like
how you
afraid of his dad sort of thing. But then like once Billy announced they could have the match, he kind of was smiling too. So I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know, man. Just as a wrestling fan, it feels like Billy Gunn's going to turn on acclaimed and we might get...
Which I don't know why.
Like, it could cost them the titles. It could be after the match. It could be not at all. Because on the flip side, right, he's so popular with the acclaimed right now. Do you really do that?
Exactly, right? And I feel like their thing works better. I don't think the Gun Club ever really did anything.
And they don't usually telegraph stuff. Not that this is maybe exactly telegraphing it. Just because I've got whatever... almost 40 years of watching wrestling. Wow, that's gross to say, but true. That I can it kind of feels like that's where it's going, right? But I guess we'll find out. But I kind of like the segment.
Yeah, I thought like I mean obviously it's one of the match angle kind of scenarios, which is whatever squash match. I thought like the promos were solid. I thought Bowens was solid. Both Guns were solid. Austin had the one line that was pretty sweet. And Billy is fine too. The mic issues kind of stunted it, but it's not his fault.
He was pissed. He spiked
Yeah.
that mic down.
I guess we're getting the match next week. I'm not sure what the deal is going to be with Billy. He seems kind of disgruntled with the whole situation, so I'm not sure how that's going to play out. So we'll see if it comes next. We'll see what comes of it next week.
I don't think I'm ready for Guns as tag champs.
I don't think that'll happen.
I don't either.
I don't think it won't not happen.
And you just passed Ontario's literacy test.
I don't know if that works. I don't think it won't not happen. Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll happen, so I don't think it won't not happen.
What's the Office reference I'm thinking of right now?
Don't bother Luke.
Correct.
Don't bother Luke.
Correct.
Don't not bother Luke.
Don't not bother.
I remember the one thing in Practical Jokers is the one challenge where they have to get people to protest with them, so they have protest signs, and the one they gave Sal was don't stop letting people not help.
Right.
And then he takes out the negatives, and it's like, stop letting people help. And he just solved it right there. That was really funny to me.
Yeah, I remember that one.
So yeah, that's funny. Anyways, yeah, they wouldn't not. So like,
I guess.
Next we get a quick Boy Perry interview. He says he had a great time teaming with Hook, and he was back when no one did. But he did the team thing before. With who? Should get on TV and no lawsuits or anything, right?
He needs a new face first.
And he reached the top, but he fell down a long way. He should just be Luchasaurus without a mask and just pretend to be a dinosaur, but look like a human completely.
You should get that exact mask tattooed on his face, and that's not a mask.
There we go. Because face tattoos would never be stupid.
Correct.
Right? Trench. I think that's what.
I think that's what I heard too.
And says the goal this year is to be a champion again, but by himself.
Doesn't it feel like this is the exact same thing he said last time, and then they're gonna have one more match together? And I was wondering, a reluctant tag team that keeps winning could be interesting.
What, him and
like they agree, okay, fine, one more, but they keep winning, so they just keep going, fine, one more, and they keep winning. And he's like, I want to be a single star and get gold, but we keep winning. I could be okay with that.
This is fine, but it doesn't really set him in much of a direction because it's so vague. So I'm just like...
But it feels like he already did the I'm done. That was one and done, and then they did one more. So I feel like maybe it's going to be like one more and one more. I don't know. And it could be interesting. We'll see.
Next we get Brian Cage versus Konosuke Takeshita.
Yay. Our boy.
Takeshita gets one of the leaping clotheslines, which is pretty cool. Not to Takeshita line, that's weird. Cage powerbombs him into the post, which is pretty nice. There's a wrist clutch forearm exchange. Takeshita nails that blue thunderbomb for 2, which always looks really nice.
Awesome.
Outside in superplex from the machine, which is why they call him Cage. Let's not forget. Have to throw that in. Takeshita hits a stalling German for 2, which is pretty cool. He goes for the jumping knee. Cage catches him, hits a buckle bomb. Then he tries to follow up with an F5. Takeshita gets out, lands a Liger bomb for 2. Then we get a pair of brain busters from Takeshita for 2, which is pretty cool.
We do.
Cage lands the F5. Then the finish comes with Takeshita hitting an avalanche, brainbuster, and a V trigger for the win, which is pretty cool. Pump knee, but we'll go with
it.
V
Looked
trigger.
Good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this match looked awesome on paper, and it delivered for me. Like, I thought they both looked awesome. Just so many high impact moves because Takeshita's a big dude. Like, he's taller than Cage. Lots of high impact stuff from each man. I thought they both looked really good. Takeshita finally gets a win, right? And I would call it a quality win as well. And Takeshita's so good, and every matchup right now is so fresh, right? It's exactly what I always say I want. A new good wrestler just come out of nowhere and like keep having great matches. It's exactly what he does. He's in my handful of like top wrestlers to watch right now because every match is like the first time he's facing them, right? So they're all good. So another really good match from him and Cage. Mm-hmm. Cage did his part.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one because Takeshita is strong. So like, and it like when you hit the stalling German on Cage, I was surprised.
Yeah. Oh no, he's a big dude. He's a strong guy.
Yeah, but I like this again, and Takeshita picked up a win. I swear this is the first time I've seen that.
I think it is.
So yeah, another sweet match for him and delivering again. And it's the first time I've seen. Like I was like, oh my god. I watched Takeshita win a match.
Yep.
He was on full display again. I think everything he does looks cool. He hits hard. He's really cool. I don't know what it is.
He is cool.
And Cage was a cool opponent for him to work with. Got some cool stuff as well. Criminally though, no drill claw, but one can dream.
They did replay a drill claw though.
That was last week, and also it wasn't in the match.
I know.
I would even sacrifice a Takeshita win for a drill claw, but I guess I'll have to settle for the guy I like a lot winning his first Dynamite, or getting his first Dynamite win. I guess I'll have to settle for Takeshita winning, which I guess that kind of sucks.
Yep.
Because no drill claw.
But Takeshita won.
Should have a drill claw. Like, drill claw. No drills were clawed.
No claws were drilled.
Exactly. Next, we get a Jazz interview. So Jericho talks about
My notes refer to it as obligatory Jazz segment.
mandatory Jazz
Contractually obligated to put them on every week.
So he talks about Starks wanting another match. Guevara suggests the Garcia-Guevara gauntlet. Garcia, so it's basically he has to beat 2.0, and then either Garcia or Guevara, they'll let him know the night of. And he says if Starks can get through that gauntlet, then he'll kick Ricky's ass. I'm just like, why wasn't this the setup for the first match? Like, this should be the first thing they had done. Like, maybe they get into a brawl and beat him up. Like, you have a segment or two, and then this. Obviously, this can't just be like, oh, hey, you want to match a Jericho Boom Gauntlet? Obviously, you need to set it up. But, like, I mean, in terms of matches, this should have been the first thing they did. Anyways, this all makes sense. It's fine and good, whatever. No Hager, so that's a plus. Personally, I'd rather see Starks face Guevara. Not that, no diss to Garcia. I just think picturing Guevara seems more entertaining to me. Like, because, I don't know, Garcia would work better with other people.
Yeah, this barely held my interest. Like, do you remember when Daniel Garcia was really cool and finally won us over? Right? Like, we finally were like, yeah, I see it with this kid. I get what all the hype is about. And Jericho's supposed to be here to, like, elevate people and make stars. Garcia has become exponentially less interesting since being back with Jazz. He's staying with Jazz, right?
He's been pretty much an afterthought for me.
It's super disappointing. So I don't know. These guys are just kind of here for me at this point, and I don't dislike them individually, but I don't find this group like they have to be on TV. It's kind of, I don't know. It just doesn't really interest me. So anyways, we can move on.
Next we get the Elite at the basketball court. So Matt talks about them being 2-time champs. Then Omega says tough like a 1-up on them. Like, whenever that match was, not last week, I think the week before.
Yeah, sure.
So they bring AR Fox next week, shoot their shot, and they better not miss. Firm come in, Cassidy, Hardy, Paige, Hathaway. Talk about how the Elite are doing nothing all week. They challenge them to a match on Rampage for the titles. Woo 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 woo.
And Nick makes a jump shot.
And
he swished it.
Jump shot.
Okay. So obviously Top Flight and Fox have no chance of winning, but this match could be awesome, right? And you could be like, well, yeah, but you would have thought Top Flight didn't have a chance either, but this is for the trios titles, right? So pretty sure they're not changing hands here, but yeah, I mean, it was a typical thing to set up a Rampage match, right? Is it? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So I might want to watch that though.
For what?
I want to watch this match.
With the Firm?
I want to watch Top Flight and Fox against the Elite.
That's next week.
Yeah, I want to watch that.
On Dynamite.
Oh, sorry. Then what am I saying? Rampage match.
Firm.
Oh, my notes were sparse there. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be a cool match. AR Fox and Top Flight makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's on Dynamite. So yeah, it was fine. That match is sweet for next week, and a Rampage match, I guess. Sure. Next we got Bryan Danielson versus Timothy Thatcher.
Another one of our boys.
Our favorite psychotic-looking technical
his facial
wrestler,
expressions were awesome.
He's very amusing to me.
Super intense.
So Danielson's got a bow and arrow stretch. Thatcher gets it by he breaks his arm, Danielson's arm off the bad arm, of course. Just starts targeting that right away. There are corner chops and kicks from Danielson, and you can see him kind of holding the left arm close to him. Followed by running corner drop kick. Then Thatcher regains control with an arm wringer. Thatcher targets the arm further with this grounded hammerlock until Danielson kind of wiggles to get a rope break. Hammerlock suplex from Thatcher, shades of Kushida. There's a diving shotgun dropkick from Danielson. MJF comes down to try to interfere. He's got the ring cocked and ready, I think. Gets jumped by Takeshita, who attacks him, sends him to the back.
More Takeshita.
He kind of brought to the back. Yeah, he's on again. Thatcher locks in the Fujiwara armbar, but that obviously doesn't work. Later on, a belly-to-belly from Thatcher, and eventually Danielson wins with the Busaiku knee, which was a little anticlimactic in my opinion, but that's okay. Then after the match, we cut to backstage. Takeshita and MJF are still brawling. They have to get separated by security, and then Renee kind of comes in saying that an eliminator match has been confirmed for next week. So that's pretty sweet for Takeshita.
Yeah, I kind of love the story of Cage last week did the initial damage to Danielson's shoulder through brute force, right? And this week they have a technician that can dissect that shoulder from any angle, which I think is cool. And that same story, right, makes Thatcher feel like sort of a vicious heel in his debut here. And we all knew that he wasn't going to win, but I thought he looked really good in a loss. And then,
he gave himself a good showing here.
and as somebody who likes variety in my matches, right, after a couple of high impact slugfests, we get like a little bit more of grappling and holds and counters and things, and just to give some variety, which I thought was cool. We already said it. Thatcher's facial expressions are awesome, just super intense, and like the deliberate, calculated style, right? I think was the perfect choice here. So Danielson continues to like look like the resilient babyface he should on his quest for MJF. So yeah, I thought this was a very good TV match, and just kind of fits in after the first two matches, and a Takeshita MJF eliminator match is cool. So I like this all around.
Yeah, I thought this was pretty cool. Little slower pace from the other two, which I think is fine. Like, and it was still really good. Like, it's what you would expect from these two.
Right.
The gritty technical work from Thatcher's always really cool. It just always looks insane. Like, it's really funny to me.
The missing tooth helps, or whatever it is.
And just like his hair is just like,
no, he could
nuts. Totally be a hobo off the street.
He looks like all he cares about is wrestling, right? And it just technical.
Oh, yeah, he's not a good looking dude.
He's not worried about anything else.
Oh yeah, he's in his his gear's very bare bones too, and I like it a lot.
Me too.
He had like a robe. Which he didn't have in NXT, so that was kind of cool.
Yep.
They worked really well together. It was a really nice technical kind of match. Takeshita and MJF involvement was really cool. And eliminator match next week, that's sweet for Takeshita. I feel like the finish is kind of anticlimactic, but other than that, I think the match was great. And a good showing for Thatcher. Obviously, he was going to lose, but that's okay.
I hope we see him again.
Next week at the Mogul affiliates. Swerve had some issues with Dustin Rhodes from Rampage. Didn't see. Targeting another second generation guy. He's facing Pillman on Rampage. Won't see it. I'm gonna be honest, I forgot this group existed. Still don't care for the other two that I don't like, and I was right, because ever since this axe Swerve just dropped off the radar after a couple of weeks, so that's just kind of a shame for Swerve, because I just don't care.
We're gonna disagree on this a little bit for once. It doesn't happen often. Swerve always grabs my attention in ring on
Swerve
the mic.
Is good, but
I thought he sounded fantastic here, and I'm actually on board for this trio right now. Even if, or preferably if, probably, they don't really wrestle and just act as goons. I'm totally fine.
Stupid, though.
But that's part of the look of this group. It doesn't.
Swerve doesn't have to look stupid.
It's kind of working for me. I don't exactly know where the Dustin stole my TV time. I guess that's Rampage or the internet or whatever. But
it's Rampage.
I thought it was a decent way to connect it to Pillman, right? Because then he's like, since I can't wrestle you, because I think he said your dad gave Keith Lee his nickname, and he's not here anymore, and you're not here anymore, so I got to go after a different second generation star to connect it to Pillman. So I thought Swerve sounded awesome here, and I think the group, I'm kind of on board for them, to be honest. We're gonna disagree on that every week, but that doesn't bother me. Like he hasn't wrestled. I don't have to watch him wrestle. He just stands there looking crazy. It works. I don't know. I'm cool with it.
It does not work. Swerve was so much better before.
I thought he was awesome here. I thought he was super cool here.
Swerve's always cool. That's not gonna change.
I do not mind this at all. I don't mind the two dudes with him.
Parker sucks.
He's not wrestling. He's just standing there looking menacing. He can do that really well. He's fine. He's a big, tough-looking dude.
He doesn't look tough.
I like them. I'm on board. I'm not gonna say I like them, but I'm definitely not disliking it, because Swerve can pull this off. You'll see. He'll come around.
No.
Okay, I don't know. It's fine.
Next we get Roosh and LFI. Roosh is facing Danielson next week. We get a knock on the door. What did Aleister Black always say? It was like something about knocking on doors.
That dead end gimmick?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Knock on my door if you want to fight her. That was funny.
Something like that.
Yeah. Anyways, there's a knock on the door. MJF comes in. He's got a briefcase of cash for them.
Didn't he just beg people to knock on his door? I think that was it.
Something like that.
Yeah.
There's a way he said it though in that.
Because he sat in the room and
just sat in a room. They had to set up a room for him every show he's on. He says and MJF says he has 5 more briefcases for them if he beat Danielson, and he wants him to beat him by any means necessary. Rip his arm off and beat him with it, which is pretty funny. Jose translates the whole thing to Roosh, and he says, translated by Jose, they have a deal. MJ says he just has to get the job done.
Because I think Roosh said a whole bunch of things in Spanish that were insulting to MJF, and then he was like, translate, he goes, you have a deal, and he's like, it sounded like he said more than that. I think the idea was that MJF understood more Spanish than he let on and sort of knew that Roosh was insulting him. But anyways, I thought MJF was like at times funny and then serious here and did his usual great job. And just like I thought Thatcher was the perfect choice to dissect Danielson's shoulder, Roosh, because I've watched a lot of Roosh, he's the perfect choice to be like, I need you to cheat like hell if you need to beat Danielson. Like he's gonna do that anyways, to be honest. So
which I think would make it a smart opponent for MJF to choose.
exactly, that's what I'm saying. You've got the guy to dissect it after Cage injures him, and now this guy to like, I just need you to beat him by some like cheat, do whatever you need to,
which
right?
I mean he won't.
It's
but...
exactly what Roosh does. So this storyline, man, gets me who I think's probably the best wrestler in the world, Danielson, in like really cool matches week after week after week. So this storyline's working for me just in terms of what I'm getting to see in the ring every week.
Yeah.
So I like this.
Yeah, solid segment. I thought MJF delivered again. I like them letting Roosh speak Spanish because I think he came across a lot better. Like, just because obviously that's more natural for him.
Agree.
And MJF was pretty amusing here as well. I think it's another sweet match for next week. Like, they've been really nailing the choices here.
Yes. It all makes sense, right? I'm very smart. And they're all cool matches. And kind of different styles, too.
Yeah, and speaking of great choices...
Speaking of match of the night...
Oh, yeah. Match of the week? Month? First week of the month?
Decade.
Still. Wait, was this? Yeah, this is still February, right? February 1st or something?
Yeah, it was.
Red Velvet and
was
Jade
it?
Cargill.
February 1st?
I think so.
Yeah.
Red Velvet, Jade Cargill, TBS title. Woo, 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 woo.
It is.
Woo.
And my note says, my first thing.
Man, did this stink.
It feels like we've seen this match dozens of times already to me.
We have, to an extent.
Right?
There's a botched wrecking ball dropkick from Velvet, wheelbarrow suplex from Cargill, Kiera Hogan and Gray and Layla Gray botch Gray going into the stairs.
Oh, I laughed and laughed
so bad.
And rewound it and laughed some more.
Hogan was being sent away by the refs. Velvet hit a spinning kick to Cargill for 2, but the ref counted late, obviously. Velvet tried a sunset flip, but Cargill blocks and pulls her up, hits Jaded for the win with the best sell ever.
Yeah, this match had some unintentionally funny moments for me. And guess what? It was a Jade Cargill match. So what more do you need to say, right? If it's not terrible, but if you've seen one, you've seen them all. And I get to say it this week. It's almost worth it. This match, this one, Jade Red Velvet, was your only women's match this week. Right? And didn't I say at this point?
And it was full of botches.
Who killed Serena Deeb? Where's Serena Deeb at? Why is she not on TV? I don't know. Anyways, I can't talk about this division that much more or their choices for the only match every week. So it was a Jade match. That's all.
It was.
It was.
It was.
And if you've seen a Jade match, you know exactly what I mean.
Do I have to talk about it too?
You don't. You can just say that. It was a Jade match. Next.
It botch.
Yep.
Nailed it. I'll mention quick. It was not good. Very little that was notable. Most of the notables were botches. Botched or sloppy. Cargill's 50-0, I guess. How interesting. Who's gonna beat her? Is anyone even gonna beat her? Please, someone beat her.
Yeah, agree.
Should have been Athena like months ago.
Should have. And I'm not even a huge Athena fan. It just felt right. Like I like her.
Like she was the debut and she came in right, feuding against her. Like
you could have tried to make a star, right? Instead of whatever your plan was with Jade. And Jade's not awful, and maybe she's getting better, but you're just booking her in the same match every week. Anyways, carry on.
Sorry, I was just adding something. Next we got checking in on Britt Baker. So she says she is fine, and if that's how they want to play, they can too. Soho comes in, asks if Baker's good, and they kind of like, those are your girls or whatever.
Right, suspicious that because she's a former WWE person.
She's non-original.
Not original.
She had nothing to do with that. Baker says those are Soho's girls. Baker says she is doing great. It was fine.
So did Britt feel faced to you?
Kinda, I guess. I didn't
really think fully.
But like, I'm not sure what the angle is here because this was really short. So it's like.
But then again, I think Britt,
you take away from
heel Britt would have been meaner to Ruby Soho. Like she wasn't nice to her, but she wasn't like Britt Baker mean. I don't think so. I don't know what's going on with this, but it's fine. I guess they're trying again. I'll say that they're trying. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know
I guess so.
I don't know what's going on exactly, but looks like a big old double turn for multiple people.
Yes. Then we come to our main event, which is not as good as the TBS title match, but they'll try.
Tough act to follow.
Yeah.
The bar has been raised.
Samoa Joe and Dead Boy in a no holds barred match for the TNT title. Darby Allin's wearing a thumbtack hoodie because that's something that people do a lot.
That was pretty awesome. And then Joe with the towel on his hand seemed smart right at the beginning,
that
right?
was cool. And then he got it off of him. Yeah, so Darby had some offense early with the thumbtack hoodie. Joe clotheslines him with his towel for protection that takes the hoodie off of him. He pulls out a table and Darby just dives right into the table. And Joe, which that got a chuckle out of me.
Like just from out of frame, like a missile into the table, and the metal
you can see it connect with
part
Joe's
of the
head,
table goes right into the side of Joe's head, and he's cut open right away.
Joe and Darby brawl up the steps in the crowd. I think Darby got slammed there at some point. We didn't really catch it.
He just picked him up and basically looked like he dropped him on his head on the stage.
Yeah, the angle wasn't great, but there's no way it doesn't hurt. And whatever it was,
it looked nuts.
Mm-hmm. Corner chops from Darby, then Joe just chucks him out of the ring. He's just like, stop.
Just yeets him, as your brother would say, right over the top to the floor.
Just get out. Joe seats 2 chairs back to back in the ring, then backdrop suplexes him on there. That just always hurt.
Unnecessary.
He goes for a powerbomb on the chairs, which are now switched around, but Darby throws powder in his face, and now he's powdered and bloodied, and hits a code red for 2. Coffin drop with the thumbtack hoodie sorta on for 2.
Yeah, it was Darby versus Sweater.
But I mean, I'd be careful with the thumbtack hoodie too. So
yeah, for sure. Oh, fair. And I think it was just like the thumbtacks were grabbing, and what you're trying to like pull back right side out is now gripped by 20 tacks or whatever, right? You don't have time.
I would get it.
He did the best
he could. It's not like
Mandy
Mandy Rose struggling with the table way back when or something.
Any kid willing to put his body through what he does, I'll forgive him for struggling a minute there.
And then he's exposing the ring boards. Darby goes for a suicide dive, but Joe walks out of the way, so he just crashes through the table propped against the barricade, as you do.
And that could have ended bad because he clipped his heels on the rope and didn't rotate as much as he wanted.
He got there.
He did.
Joe powerbombs Darby on the thumbtack hoodie, then pulls in front of his face until Darby gouges at his eyes to get out. Just being real nice, Joseph. And then the finish comes when Darby climbs to the top. Joe shoves the ref to crotch Darby at the top. Then Avalanche and Muscle Buster on the exposed boards.
Obviously. For
the win. Then after Wardlow comes back, I don't care about
that. That's it. Your summary, Wardlow comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Joe had just escaped, right? Yeah, I thought this match was incredible. Joe just so violent. Like, it almost seemed like he was pissed off that the table cut his head open. You know what I mean? Although he works that way anyways. And then Allen continues to look like the perfect opponent for him. Like,
this was the best one.
Oh, I think so too. And
it was awesome.
Several moments that got like vocal, visceral reactions from both of us, right?
That's
like,
just Darby.
Probably 4 or 5 in the one match. I just hope that Allen doesn't seriously get hurt because he like truly has no regard for his own safety. Like he does not care at all.
To be that like careless, I would kill for like a bit of that just to not care even a bit of that much.
And sometimes
it's insane.
I forget, but these are the types of matches that remind me what a special talent this guy is, right? Like, and then Joe is just the most believable badass, right? And capable of incredible violence.
Such a nice combination, which is kind of a shame that this will be it for at least for a decent while.
Yeah, I thought this was a fantastic main event, and like this is what made it hard for me to choose my match of the night because it's either the opener or this one. I'm happy to like struggle to make that choice, believe me, because they were both terrific. So I thought this main event was awesome. And again, just a little bit more variety, right? This is a full-on violent, no holds barred. We had a violent legal match in the opener, and then this is like anything goes, weapons and tacks and the whole deal in the main event. So I thought it was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love this. The combination's so good, which it's a shame like that this is not like they can't just keep doing this.
Right.
It was awesome though. I don't know how you could top it. It was quite the main event. Definitely my favorite of theirs. More hard hitting than first. Just the action was awesome. Darby took an absolute beating here. I don't know how he does what he does. It's insane. Table dive busted Joe open pretty good. Like stairs and barricade spots. That was unique. Like when he landed on the barricade like that. That was gnarly. The thumbtack hoodie was an interesting idea. Chair and table spots were nuts. Pretty brutal. Joe comes at this looking like a killer. Darby put up an entertaining fight as well. I'm a little surprised Joe won, but I'm pleased the King of TV is back in full force. I'm concerned he will get fed to Wardlow, but here's hoping the King prevails.
Yeah, it was pretty terrific. So I guess overall thoughts on this. show, where I think you can tell I was a fan of the show. So with the opener and the main event alone, like that might be enough to get this show into the A range for me, because I always say, like, I want there to be a match that I tell you, if you didn't watch it, you should go out and see it. And there's two for sure. And you could, like, and then you add in Takeshita Cage, which I thought was really good. Thatcher Danielson, that I thought was really good. Like, this has to be one of the strongest episodes in ring in the three, however many years they've existed. The only downside, right, was Jade Velvet and then a squash match, which was fine because it led to a decent segment. So really just the women's match was a disappointment. Just in terms of, not disappointment in how it turned out, because it's what I expected, but disappointment that that's the match they gave us on this stacked. Like, imagine there was an awesome women's match too. Like, but anyways, I don't think there was any like amazing promo segments. I really liked Swerve and his job with his group. And I thought MJF's interaction with LFI was entertaining as well. So I'm giving this easily an A show. It's really not far from an A plus, but I guess I'm one of those people that I like to leave room for improvement, right? But so if this had some absolutely captivating segment along the way, it would get into A plus, but it's pretty darn close just based off like 4, I thought, really good to amazing matches. So A, very strong A show this week. Loved it. You?
Yeah, it was great too, and I think it was definitely match heavy, which is okay because
Yeah,
I thought the
loved
opener was really good. I really liked Takeshita's match. Danielson was awesome too. The main event was my favorite, obviously. Like, it was really fun. Squash match was fine, and the TBS was not good. Most of the segments were pretty good too. Like the MJF and whatever he did was nice. The Guns and Acclaimed was solid too. And then the women's stuff was okay. I think that's a pretty good show. I think like the in ring stuff merit, like on that merit alone, I think it does warrant an A show.
I agree.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Good show. All right, well, let's move into taking a look at some trivia, take a break from recapping some shows. Going to ask you some questions in a segment we always like to call Off the Top of His Head. All right, so I told you I had one more Royal Rumble related idea for trivia, and that, I was like, wow, but the Rumble's over. But then I said something happened that made it kind of relevant. So in honor of Kofi's second consecutive botch spot in the Royal Rumble, we're going to highlight or look at some of his saves, and then I think I have 4 other saves from other people in Royal Rumble history.
I know one from another person.
Okay. So, I got to try and talk my way through these to have them make sense on the fly here. So let's take a look. We're talking about Kofi's, okay? So number 9 was Kofi Kingston in 2022. Do you remember what happened there?
Didn't he try to land on the barricade and he failed?
That's right. That was the first fail in his streak, right?
Yes.
2018. Do you remember what it was?
Pancakes.
Oh my God. Yep. So elaborate.
What he got like tossed over, but like they saved him with like the plate of pancakes for 1 foot, and then
yeah, so it was like
him back in.
That I thought that one was cheap because 1 foot touched. It wasn't anything like acrobatic or whatever by Kofi, right? Impressive. He just put his foot on a tray of pancakes that I think
Because that was their thing.
That wood slid right under there, right? Okay, so this again, I don't have to do a lot of work when you just remember everything. 2017. This one's a little trickier.
That's when he like hung on the post, right?
Oh my God, yes. Do you remember who?
Corbin.
What's wrong with you? But yes, Corbin shoved him off the top, right? And he ended up like hanging onto the post on the outside. That one was pretty cool, actually. 2015.
Was that not the chair one? Was that
no? It involves a former NXT call-up who had an entourage with him.
Oh, Rosebuds?
Yeah, he landed on the Rosebuds. Exactly.
Nice.
2019.
That's one of the ones I'm gathering.
So this was assisted by somebody else? Does that help you? Another member of New Day? Again, not the pancakes, though, obviously. So it says here, I don't think you're going to get it. Kofi had to deliver a sunset flip to his friend and landed with 1 foot up to stay alive. I don't remember that one.
I don't remember that one either.
And that's the 5th but most memorable. 2016, I remember this one.
Yeah. That he was like riding on Biggie's shoulders.
Correct. Yeah, he lands
It
on
was like a
Big E
victory
on his
lap or whatever,
shoulders.
yeah.
Yep. Number 3 is 2013, which it almost seemed like they tried to revisit this year.
This is the chair one.
Yeah, the chair
Yeah,
pogo
okay.
stick, right? He lands on one of the commentary chairs and then like hops back to the ring. Number 2, was this the OG one, 2014?
Was this the one where he runs from the barricade?
Right.
No, I think the first one he did was maybe 2012, which was the handstand.
Which is number 1, so you just answered
And
both
then-
at once. Yeah.
Oh, whoops. And then
That's
2013
okay.
was the chair, and then 2014 ran from the barricade.
Yeah, so he leapt from the guardrail to the ring, which was pretty impressive. And then, as you said, you got number 1, where he did the handstand that Saul Ruka just sort of reenacted on NXT, which was a pretty damn impressive one too, right? Okay, so you got those. I've got 4 more. It was another top 5, but one of them was Kofi already included. So number 5 for other people's saves was 2022 Women's Royal Rumble. I can give you another hint if you need it.
Sure.
NXT person who you are not a fan of, who is now gone. Was not NXT at that time. Who just left NXT that you were happy about and left her faction all alone. Really? Because she had other websites that WWE didn't care.
Mandy?
Correct. Do you remember what she did?
No, I didn't remember she did.
She landed on Otis, right?
What year?
2022.
That was not 2022.
No?
2020, I would say. 'Cause that was the Otis run. That was 2020.
Could be right.
I'm 100% positive.
So then this one says 2019.
Okay.
Women's Royal Rumble.
Kanzaro?
Correct.
Yeah,
What did
that
she
just
do?
made sense. I don't know. Probably did a handstand or something.
Yeah, you got it. A classic one from 95. In the final 2, people left.
Oh, the Michaels, that thing?
What was it?
Where he had like 1 foot,
Who threw him over?
bulldog.
Correct.
So and then that's like now they have to like make sure it's both feet.
Correct, because his 1 foot like grazed the floor, right? It's where he's hanging off the top rope over the to the floor and just dangling there,
Mhm.
and 1 foot touches. So yeah, they have to make that clear now. I think the only other one that's not Kofi is Women's Royal Rumble 2021.
Really? No 2011?
No, what was 2011?
Morrison.
Oh
landed on
yeah,
the barricade.
that was cool.
That inspired Kofi.
That was exactly, that one was cool.
Yeah.
No, this is women's 2021,
Uh,
involving is that considered a body part? Like one of her the one woman's famous feature, shall we say? It involved a star who is now gone, and I predicted might come back in the Rumble. One of my Rumble return predictions. She left with another member. They walked out due to contract stuff. Not Sasha Banks, but
Naomi.
And she used somebody else's hair. Who would it be?
Belair.
Correct. I don't remember that one either.
I don't.
And then number 1, they said, was what we already talked about, Kofi walking on his hands, which you knew a lot about. All right. That's going to wrap up the trivia. That'll end our Royal Rumble themed stuff. I just appreciated Kofi botching to make that list relevant again. So we will go back into the week that was in wrestling, looking at what we liked and didn't like in what we call Highspots and Restholds. All right, since we do things in order, you've got Monday Night Raw. What was good or bad?
That's all I got.
That's fine. Oh yeah, because it's SmackDown just barely finished before we came down, right? So what do you have for Raw then?
Now by this time I could probably find stuff.
You could. It's late enough now. Early enough.
High spot was Rollins beat Gable, so he's in the chamber match.
You would like that.
And the lineup is pretty solid.
Probably a good match too.
Yeah,
I would assume.
I thought the finish was all right. I don't quite remember, but it was all right. Lineup so far is him, Theory, Gargano, and Bronson Reed, which I like that lineup so far.
Yeah.
So that's good. Resthold. You see who's back?
Don't think so.
The women variety. The woman.
Asuka?
No, she was in the segment with Asuka.
I don't know. Oh, Nia Jax?
No.
Someone else?
Yeah.
Chelsea
Just as
Green?
good as Nia Jax.
Just as good. Who?
Carmella.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great news.
Mm-hmm.
Super happy.
That is all. And then that's what I wrote was Carmella's back. That is all.
That
I
is
have
all.
2 more. They're both I don't know. So do with it what you will.
Okay.
Rick Boogs is back. He beat up Miz.
Is he doing the same character?
I don't know because Nakamura's on SmackDown. I
Right.
think.
So, oh well. Okay.
And then Ripley chose Charlotte.
Oh, she did. Is that a high spot or a rest hold?
I don't know.
I feel like it's a rest hold.
Kinda. I mean,
Just
as
'cause
long
I
as-
don't-
As long as she wins, I guess it's.
Someone's got to face Charlotte, I guess.
But I was.
Can she
kinda-
win, please? Rhea Ripley, I
would
mean.
hope so.
Me too.
Can Charlotte win, please?
No, well, she always wins, so
Yeah, like no, I don't know. I just feel like her and Belair would be more interesting.
I do as well. It would be fresher. It would be like a couple
They have
powerhouses going at
NXT
it.
history, which to me is more interesting
Right.
than
Anything with Charlotte.
Charlotte, even though Charlotte unjustly beat her.
Charlotte has NXT history too, all right? Just not
Sure.
with them. All right, Tuesday was NXT. I watched it, and a rest hold for me was the opening tag match, so we got the long-awaited Indus Sher Creeds. And Indus Sher dominated the action for probably the majority of this, and I don't know if that's a great thing. They're really basic in their offense, and the prolonged beatdown of the Creeds
Yeah, and I was
was...
looking for worst wrestlers of the year. Some people put in Veer.
He looks better than Sanga to me, because Veer shows some athleticism. Like
yeah,
on
but I
his...
think it might have been that coupled with the endless vignettes.
Yeah,
hyping
of
him,
him
and then
coming.
He did like nothing but beat up the
That's
Mysterios
true.
a bit, and then
That's true. Like when he does his standing elbow drop and stuff, he's pretty athletic. Because Sanga seemed a little bit lost to me.
Yeah, you like Sanga.
I liked him when he was doing character stuff with backstage segments, talking a bit. I thought he was good. The Creeds eventually took control and things picked up a little bit. We got Julius powerbomb Veer, which looked pretty impressive. But it wasn't for long. We got Nile knocked off the apron. Julius's concern for her distracts him long enough for Veer to hit a clothesline, Sanga to hit a choke slam, and Indus Sher win. The Creeds didn't get a lot in this match, and they looked nowhere near as good as usual, maybe limited by the opponents and what they can or can't do. And Indus Sher could be like, they're an okay monster tag team, right? But you can't expect a lot out of them, I guess, at this point. High spot for me, you didn't like him, but Damon Kemp is back. So Axiom and Nathan Frazier were kind of backstage complimenting each other and setting up a match, and Kemp interrupted and
Tyler Bate.
insulted both. Was it?
I swear.
Bate? No, I don't think so.
I swear. Then Bate faced him.
I know, but was that what it was? You could
Yeah,
be right.
I
Did I
swear
just
I saw
replace
that.
Nathan Frazier for Tyler
Let
Bate?
me look at.
Anyways, he talked about while he was in UK, Kemp, this is, that he learned in his time there that everybody in the UK is soft. Is that the segment? You're showing on
That's
mine.
Bate.
I know, but is that the segment?
That's it. That's actually.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Tyler
Name
Bate.
brings up a kid.
Same thing. I just think Kemp's really believable and like not likable. So I think he kind of works and could have a future.
Because he's related to Gable.
Maybe. And I think he's a good fit for NXT right now because he's decent in the ring and he's decent in his character. So these are the ones, like, develop them from decent to good and then send them on. Not from, like, terrible and no experience, right? That I don't need on TV.
At least he's got a wrestling background as opposed
exactly.
to
So already he's okay. High spot for me was all Apollo Crews vignette ahead of his match with Carmelo Hayes at Vengeance Day. Basically, he's in Charlotte early. We get lots of, like, cool shots of the city, and he's getting energy of the city and preparing for Melo. I thought he sounded good here. It was slick looking, and I thought he seemed to be stepping back from, like, his visions and premonitions and going more with, like, I'm trying to visualize my own success, which to me is better,
That's
right?
like somewhat realistic, I guess.
So I was happy with that, but then later, I don't think I put it in here at all, but there's a Carmelo Hayes and Trick segment, and they're like, the fact that you had another vision scares us or whatever sort of thing. So then I'm like, but you guys are making it sound like he's doing the same thing he was before when I thought he wasn't. So I don't know.
you.
Yeah, I guess so. Rest hold. I don't even remember based off of my note here. 3 people who don't speak well get a lot of time to speak in the ring. If you had to guess who it was, oh, now I remember. Who would you guess?
Toxic Attraction.
Yeah, right, but there's only 2 of them now, so it's not them.
Well, you could do them and Perez, but Like I'm going with Electra Lopez, Feroz, and
No,
someone else.
it's men. So I'm sorry.
Wagner,
Yes.
someone else, and
So
another
Wes
guy.
Lee
Oh God.
doesn't sound good on the mic to me. He pauses really long when he speaks, and his delivery just I don't find him sincere or believable. He sounds like a guy delivering lines. He gets interrupted by Dijak, who actually sounded okay, but his look is just so dumb, right? Like just so.
I don't like it.
And the build for this match has been really weak. The match could be good because Dijak can go and so can Lee, but like I just don't want to hear them interact anymore. And then to
That's
make things
tomorrow.
better, Von Wagner comes out with Robert
Today?
Stone.
I guess technically today,
What?
the Vengeance Day.
Yeah, I guess so.
Technically, it's the 4th now.
Right. So Wagner comes out with Stone. Wagner speaks, which he shouldn't do. Uh, he's tired of being overlooked, and then it leads to Wagner Dijak having a match on this show where Wagner can win the number 1 contender spot. And then just
Which
to
is
further
just a
irritate
nightmare
me,
to anyone.
that match is next, and they put Lee on commentary for it, and he's hard to listen to. I'm sorry. High spot though, a Haas fight that over delivered, and that was actually Dijak Wagner. They had a decent big man match, each of them hitting some power moves. Dijak won after barely hitting his finisher to Wagner, but I thought the match as a whole was better than I expected, and actually the crowd was pretty into it as well.
I saw him flip out of a chokeslam.
Yeah, they're not the best gauge because they're there to cheer for stuff, right? Like there's this small little crowd, and I think when the crowd's that small too, you get like 25 people cheering out of 200. It sounds
Yeah.
impressive, you know. A high spot for me because I'm a sucker for it is a parking lot investigation into who took out what's her face.
Nikita Lyons in the
Correct.
dangerous parking lot.
So Mackenzie's sort of going through the footage of who, because they have all cameras everywhere, obviously, right? So it's like, turns out like basically half of the women's roster seems to be in that parking lot at the time, including Zoe Stark, Stratton, Lopez, Valkyria, a mystery woman in a car driving off. I think it was a white Mercedes, and like a bunch of other people too. So again, I kind of like these whodunits, even though I don't really care about Nikita Lyons too much. If it helps other female wrestlers gain some traction or develop something, then I'm for it, right? So I kind of liked it. High spot was Axiom taking on, it was Tyler Bate, not Nathan Fraser, but really fun back and forth TV match as you would expect. Both of these guys are awesome. Axiom's kicks look awesome every week. And Bate's just an all-round performer, right? So I just wish it had a bit of build and heat behind it instead of like, I respect you too, let's have a match, right? Because a bit more build would have made it even strong.
You have a kid.
A little bit, right? So Bate picked up the win after his third attempt at a Tyler driver, and then Damon Kemp ran in, attacked Axiom.
I'm kind of offended it's not a driver.
With a Uranagi backbreaker that looked pretty good, and Tyler Bate chased Kemp away. Resthold, Roxanne Perez, and Toxic Attraction interviewed in separate locations, and Toxic Attraction, juvenile and ridiculous as usual. They make me feel, I don't know if maybe I've used this comparison before. They make me feel like I'm watching a bad high school play. Like they're like inexperienced bad actors who are just overdoing it and don't sound real at all. They basically don't let Perez speak, so Perez eventually just walks off, disappears. Dolan actually accidentally says that she will be the one because they're trying to say like we'll win.
That's not how Triple Threat works.
Correct.
Sure.
And she actually says that she will win, and Jane obviously shoots her a dirty look. And then Perez runs in from wherever she was and attacks them.
No, I hope they don't break up though.
Right? Send them to main roster because I don't watch it.
But they suck.
And this got a lot more time than it needed to, and almost all of that time was Toxic Attraction speaking, so never a great idea. Resthold, Vic Joseph, getting Stevie Turner's name wrong repeatedly. I would say 3 to 5 times during Stevie Turner's debut match. So she defeated Danny Palmer, and Vic called Turner Palmer repeatedly in the middle of this match when he meant Turner, right? Turner actually looked aggressive, and Palmer is like...
Wait, Palmer or Turner?
Palmer.
Okay.
The challenger, the jobber. I don't know what not quite, because she actually had a decent showing, and she's like another fit athlete trying to become a wrestler. I didn't think she looked terrible. High spot, We got an old-fashioned wrestling match, right? It was only 8 minutes, and it did end with a distraction roll-up, which is annoying. But it was Drew Gulak and Dempsey. I thought it was pretty good while it lasted. It's just like lots of holds and counters, and they're really good at it, so I don't mind it. It's not always my favorite style, but when there's so much variety, my fear is Dempsey, and I think you might have thought this too, that he's a guy that they're gonna have no idea what to do with, like
yeah,
Pete Dunne, right?
His gimmick's so based off. Well, yeah, Pete Dunne. They had nothing to do with him, and then they screwed him.
So hopefully, because his dad's there and his dad's in a position of power, like I just feel like Dempsey's the type of guy.
I don't want like nepotism
He's
level
not
stuff, but
he's not big, he's not muscular. He works a style that's like a little bit not super exciting if you're not really
and that's
into
kind
wrestling.
of his gimmick too, right? So it's kind of like
Yeah,
it's gonna ground him a bit.
I think so too, like a ceiling on him. But
Yeah.
I think
it shouldn't be, but
I think he's cool and kind of unique, right? High spot. Robert Stone gets serious with Von Wagner backstage. So he accuses Von of, pretty funny, being a growling big man like everyone else. Basically, like you're generic. And to get to the next level,
which he is,
you have to show who you really are, so that Stone can help him. He's like, help me help you, basically, is what he was saying. And I like Stone's intensity here, right? He's been kind of underused. He can do really good work, man, if they
remember when his whole thing was like managing Aaliyah?
Yes. If they give him more than like comedy buffoon stuff, which he can do well too, but he can do other things. So, and everything he said about Wagner was true, so that helps as well.
It's like when they kept pointing about what was wrong with Cross, and I was like, yep.
High spot. I thought the main event was really fun. It was a triple threat tag match between the Dyad, Anafe Blade, and Chase University. Only got 10 minutes, but non-stop action, right? Dyad, really good job as the only heels in this. And guess who won? Chase U picked up a rare win, and I texted you to say what the name of their combo finisher,
the
Fratliner, which made me laugh. Doesn't look amazing, but the name's cool. Couple highlights. Dyad hit a slingshot spike pile driver on the floor. Hudson hit like a slingshot German, so he slingshots in and sort of all in smooth one motion grabs you for a German. It looked good. Anafe and Blade did a bunch of high flying that looked pretty good, and I called her the Pebble because I forget her name.
Ava Rain.
Nice. So they got involved. She and Thea Hale got a bit involved, but not too much. So I thought it was a good main event. Moving into Impact this week. Opener, High Spot, Bullet Club, Kushida, and Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight, I don't really know much about him. I think he's been on 2 weeks in a row. Young, athletic, looked pretty good. He was the one to take a lot of the double team offense that's always cool from Bullet Club. But Knight got to showcase some stuff too. And you said you saw it, I think, right? Probably a highlight clip where Knight went for a slingshot to the floor and Bay was on the second rope, I think, facing the apron, and he jumped at the same time in time to cut her on the apron. That looked pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And Austin and Bay won with the Art of Finesse fold combination that I also kind of like. Most entertaining tag team in the company. What are you looking for?
Got it.
Oh, okay. Resthold, surprise, surprise, a design segment was a Resthold. So Sami Callihan didn't win his title match last week or whenever that was. I think it was the multi-man match he didn't win. Or was it the qualifier? I don't remember. Anyways, Diener isn't happy, but he's going to give Sami a chance for redemption because they're going to have an 8-person tag match when they take on Alexander Swan, Kazarian, and Yui Uemura. So Callahan, just jumping ahead, did end up pinning Uemura with the Cactus Driver to conclude that kind of ordinary match. That's why it's not a High Spot or a rest hold. So again, like, it's more of the design, right? Supposedly badass group doesn't really accomplish anything important and just continue to talk.
Rinse repeat from the last time.
And just like Sami Callihan as Diener's lackey, right? Sami Callahan's a higher profile dude that it just doesn't make sense, and I keep waiting for it to be that
Right.
Sami's killing them from the inside on purpose.
For what and also how?
And remember, I really liked Diener when he murdered Eric Young, and I thought, okay, I'll give this guy a shot as the leader. They're giving him more responsibility.
I said it was dumb.
And the first promo was really good, and then they've done nothing. It's just settle back into like cryptic talking, borderline spooky stuff, don't really win stuff, although they won here, I guess. And then my note, I told you this too. Steph DeLander debuts next week. Hope it's a high spot. Don't know because I've never heard of her. Then I Google searched. Oh yes, I have. It's Persia Parada,
Yeah.
who I didn't think was the worst. She's like another powerhouse, right? So we'll see.
Yeah, she kind of sucked.
High spot for me, surprisingly over-delivered. Savannah Evans, is that redundant? Surprisingly over-delivered. 'Cause if it over-delivered, that implies a surprise, right?
You expected it to over deliver. I guess
No,
so.
but
I
if
guess
it over-delivers, it's sort of implied that you're
no,
surprised.
I know that's what I'm saying. Like so then it is
I don't need to
redundant,
say
'cause, like,
surprisingly.
you can't expect it to over deliver.
Right.
You expect it to surprise, like, exceed your expectations.
So it just
Which
over-delivered.
would then that would make that your expectation
Right.
instead of, so it wouldn't be over delivering.
Correct.
So yes, it is redundant. That's my stupid way.
It's a
of
good
saying it.
example of it to remember for the future, but I won't. Savannah Evans and Giselle Shaw. I really like Shaw. Evans is at times hit and miss for me, but I thought here she was like impressive powerhouse, lots of high impact offense. And she's officially split from Tasha Steelz.
Oh darn.
And Giselle Shaw later implied that Steelz is gone, so I don't know if that's the case or not. I haven't
She's
heard.
disappeared like Hogan.
Seems like Evans might be turning babyface because she was obviously facing a heel here, and the crowd was
Who
kind
she
of
facing again?
behind Evans Shaw.
Oh.
So Shaw, I thought, did a good job as well, taking shortcuts, including a distraction from Jay Vidal that led to the finish, which was a super kick and a running knee combination that looked pretty good. And then, yeah, Shaw cuts a promo after she calls herself the Black Widow. I think because she says people call her that because she kills every tag team she's in, but she's taken that name to own it. She's calling herself the Black Widow and says, yeah, I'm responsible for Steelz, the influence in Chelsea Green leaving Impact. So I don't know if Steelz actually left or if this is going to be like she comes back to continue the feud, but the implication was there. High spot, Santino Marella, I thought,
Whoa.
briefly dialing back the comedy and even his accent, I thought a little bit. So in one quick segment,
I'm starting to think he's not actually Italian.
Speaking of which, I'm going to have to put a note here because I'm going to go back to it or put my spot. So remember how we went to Battle Arts out in Mississauga?
Yeah.
So there's now a guy at work was telling me, because he's like, you and your son like wrestling, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, there's a new wrestling place that opened in Beaverton, which is not that far from here. Tiny little place. I was surprised to hear. And it's Battle Arts. And he said they host wrestling shows and they're okay. So anyways.
Nice.
So in this one quick segment, Marella interacted with Kenny King, giving him a match with Swinger on this show. Macklin putting him in a qualifying match for a four-way for number one contendership, and Dirty Dango also giving him a qualifying match. And like this version of Marella was fine for me, like less comedy, more confident, competent authority figure. I feel like they're probably listening to the podcast and hearing me complain, right? Although he did interact with Raven a little bit later and seemed a little more
old
calm.
guy Raven.
He's like, I heard you're a genius. What do I need to do? And Raven was like, make me champion. And then some big guy came in and talked to Raven, and I forget who it was. I feel like I was supposed to know. Some big dude. I don't know. Anyway, Resthold. Exactly as I've written it. Bully Ray sucks up more TV time with the same heel promo shtick he's been using for 20 years now. He speaks for a really long time. Mickie James comes in and interrupts him again. He ends up body slamming her, setting her up for a Bubba Bomb, I guess, through a table. But Dreamer shows up with the kendo stick to make the save. So this really long segment was all to further a Tommy Dreamer Bully Ray feud in 2023. And a tag match against Hotch and Skylar. I think it's going to be Mickey and Dreamer, I guess, against those guys. But
which is kind of odd.
What a waste of TV time. And then I said, fun fact, the combined age of Dreamer, Bully, and Mickie James is 145. And this is getting like 10 minutes in the middle of Impact. Awesome. I told you earlier today, Resthold, you know my favorite is supernatural stuff. Rosemary and the Death Dolls can teleport. And if you could teleport, would you not use it in a match? Because they don't. I think that's a poor decision. It's not illegal, is it? Teleportation?
You're not like using any foreign objects.
But so anyways, they magically appeared behind.
If you were to low blow someone in a women's match, is that really illegal? Because
yeah, it still hurts probably. I would assume.
Like, isn't the whole point of a low blow for us is that like it would hurt more?
I don't know.
Wouldn't
I can't
it not
compare.
hurt them more?
Don't know.
Like, so then it's just like a normal kick.
Can't say.
Maybe it's just because inconvenient. I don't know. Just saying.
So they magically appear behind Killer Kelly and Taylor Wilde because Taylor Wilde is suggesting she and Killer Kelly work together. Sure.
It's getting
Like
wild in there.
Killer Kelly's cool. The rest of that bunch can.
Well, you're
I
not
don't
going to
care
mention
so
the collective cackle
What?
when they're all laughing.
Oh, no.
Cackle.
High Spot. Matt Cardona's response to Joe Hendry's diss track. Did you see this one?
No.
So he did his own, like, bad on purpose, not in storyline. Like, he thinks it's really good, but he's, like, a terrible rapper. The insults he uses are really weak. And Myers is, like, reacting
Like a
in the
YouTube
background, and I thought it was pretty funny. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. And I already mentioned the main event wasn't great, and that was it. So that's my quick, tried to get through there. Got us back on pace, just over 2 hours now. You said there was nothing for figuring it out? So I guess that means we're done. We did it.
We did.
Got it just over 2 hours. And I'm going to say it again. We're very close to the worst stuff.
I am actually ready. It's just a matter of we need time.
Right, because we need to get this one out of the way. But the document is ready. We'll sit down and talk about that. I don't know if we'll have time this weekend or not, but we could possibly. But be patient. We apologize. It's coming. And yeah, so I guess that's going to wrap up episode 133.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be back down here next Saturday for sure, if not before. We'll do episode 134 then. If you'd like to contact us, fnswrestling@gmail.com comes to me, FNS_wrestling_podcast on Instagram will go to Jack. We promise you a reply. Leave a comment in YouTube if that's where you're listening. Love to hear from any of you. Thanks again for taking time out of your week to listen to us. And we'll see you back here next Saturday. Until then, take care.